Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. Obtain the Deidara explosion-style bloodline and six-path sage body at start. Chapter 21. Finally completed the 7th class of the B-level mission, and on the second day after returning to Konaha village, the boring D-level characters started again. Pulling weeds, removing trash, and helping with walking the dog, you just don't treat them as human beings. However, Naruto was happy in his heart, because it was his shadow clone who participated in these D-level missions, and his body had long been wandering in other corners of the ninja world. In order to quickly improve his strength, and to get killing heart points, he began to receive bounty in the black market. Before that, he sold the head that was not cut and received a large bounty. Kagura Shinyen, together with the 2 magical powers he just acquired, it is simply an assassination weapon that can make him strong enough to kill Jonin. Keep changing. The greatest effect of supernatural powers is not the same as transformation technique, turning him into the appearance of other people, nor is it automatically returning to the original shape after being attacked. Instead, it can conceal the 9 tails chakra in his body to avoid being noticed by other powerful sentient ninjas. Otherwise, no matter what he becomes, others will know that he is 9 tails Jinchuriki of Konaha village. Once this news is learned by Konaha village, then he will be GG. So the whole ninja world began to circulate the legend of a red-haired masked woman who is suspected of being a descendant of the Uzumaki clan, and a powerful bounty ninja. After Konaha village 3rd Hokage learned of this information, he couldn't help but think of the man behind the 2 bombings in the village before, and sent Anbu ninjas to look for it. Unfortunately, Naruto avoided it far in advance with the eyes of Kagura. In order to increase his speed, Naruto had to upgrade the Deidara explosion style, which allowed him to smoothly create a bird made of detonating clay and take him to fly at high speed in the air. Anyway, his current points have gradually increased because of continuously assassinating other ninjas. So that his current personal panel has become: Host, Uzumaki Naruto, male with sunglasses. Age, 12 years old. Strength, Elite Chunin. Chakra attributes, wind, water, soil, gifted by Sage Body. Special title, Killing Heart. Points, 1000 points. Supernatural powers, ever-changing. Tie the fairy rope. Bloodline, Sage Body of the Uzumaki clan, level 4, God level bloodline. Deidara explosion style blood succession limit, level 2. Skill, Uzumaki clan Sage Body with skills, superior, huge amount of chakra, adamantine sealing chains, Kagura heart eye, physical healing, sealing talent. Multiple shadow clone technique, transformation technique, clone technique, body replacement technique, super chakra control, flying thunder god technique. Sea-level wind style ninjutsu, sea-level earth style ninjutsu, sea-level water style ninjutsu. Thing. In just 2 weeks, Naruto's footprints and flying thunder god's imprints spread all over the country, and I don't know how many places left traces of Lousy's visit here. Until this day, after Naruto's shadow clone and Sasuke Jr. Sakura had completed the task of walking the dog as always, they suddenly challenged Sasuke. He wanted to complete that long-term task as soon as possible, receive mysterious rewards, and continue to improve his strength. Because in his perception, more and more ninjas from other villages have entered Konaha village, and the chunin exam is imminent. At that time, he is likely to encounter the terrifying Orochimaru. He must continue to improve his strength, at least have the strength to protect himself and not to be abused. Sasuke, let's challenge again. After this period of training, I think your strength has also improved. Naruto's shadow clone looked at Sasuke and asked. HMPH, don't think that you have learned AB level wind style ninjutsu by yourself, and I also learned lightning style Chidori and Shunshu technique from teacher Kakashi. Sasuke squinted at Naruto and snorted coldly. Naruto looked at Sasuke in surprise, and asked doubtfully, when did you learn the body flicker technique? I haven't seen you practice it in the country of waves. It was the 2nd day I came back from Nami. Kakashi taught me, Sasuke continued with some pride. Maybe he thinks my talent is better than you. Gone. Naruto's shadow clone cursed inwardly, and Kakashi really favored Sasuke even more. At this moment, 2 young ninjas with peculiar appearances came to face each other. Hearing the conversation with Naruto and Sasuke, they said in disdain. Hehe, Konaha village is really decayed, and a mere body flicker technique can make the ninjas of Konaha village feel that they are amazing. After hearing this, Naruto Shadow Clone and Sasuke looked up at the two people who were approaching. It was no surprise that it was Kankuro and Temari. The strength of these two people is pretty good among their peers, and they should have reached Chunin's level. It is estimated that their purpose of coming here to take the Chunin exam is just to team up with Gaara and cooperate with the implementation of Konaha's collapse plan. But in any case, Naruto Shadow Clone can't stand the insults of two people now. It doesn't matter if they are bullied by the people in Konaha village. Why don't you just want to bully him if two people come here? Naruto Shadow Clone thought so, and Sasuke, who was always arrogant next to him, couldn't stand it even more, and immediately glared at him. Haha, by coincidence, Sasuke, let's pick one of them and see who beats his opponent to the ground first, who will be the winner of this 5th match. Naruto Shadow Clone looked at Sasuke with a grin, and didn't pay attention to the two opposing people, as if they wanted to defeat each other with ease, and also compared them with each other. It's best. Sasuke looked at Kankuro with a sneer, I'll pick him up. I'm not used to dealing with women. Haha, it's like I always like to bully women. Naruto smiled and said, isn't it just bullying your horse? Sasuke took out kunai and looked at Kankuro intently, without paying attention to Naruto's second sentence, turning around questioningly and asked, what did you say? It's okay. Naruto shook his head. At this time, young Sakura chased up from behind and asked, what are you trying to do? Then he looked at the opposite Kankuro and Temari and asked suspiciously, how did you appear in Konaha village as ninjas from other villages? You are really dumb goose, don't you know about the upcoming Chunin exam? Don't tell me, you don't even have the qualifications to take the middle school exam, then do you have the courage to challenge us? Kankuro sarcastically rode. Konaha's ninja is getting more and more arrogant. Temari said dismissively. Stop talking nonsense, don't you Sunagaku ninjas like to use their mouths to do it? Don't be afraid of sand filling their mouths. Naruto Shadow Clone stopped both sides from continuing to talk nonsense, let's go to the training ground. On the training ground, Naruto Shadow Clone has summoned its body. At this time, Naruto's body is standing face to face with Temari, looking at the future Shikamaru daughter-in-law, recalling her performance in the original work. Temari is good at wind style ninjutsu. The big fan behind it is a ninja that can use a powerful wind style. Although Naruto is also good at using wind style, it is still inferior to Temari's fan. Then you can only find another way, just like the method Shikamaru used to deal with his wife in the original book, breaking through from the ground. Wind style Scythe Itachi. Temari preemptively took off the huge fan on his back, revealed a star, and waved it vigorously towards Naruto. Wind style Hurricane. Not to be outdone, Naruto also resorted to the B-level ninjutsu that had been trained to the level of proficiency. His goal was naturally not to fight against wind-style ninjutsu with Temari. Two strong winds rushed up against each other, rolling up the flying sand and rocks on the training ground, blocking the sight of the two. Earth-style heart decapitation technique. At this moment, both hands slammed out of Temari's feet, and they were about to hold the opponent's feet. Temari reacted quickly and immediately jumped up to avoid it, but how could Naruto have no countermeasures? The shadow clone under the ground also jumped up, holding Kumi in his hand and chasing the opponent. And the other 50 shadow clones have surrounded Temari through the underground, quickly forming seals with their hands, and shouting in unison. Wind-style hurricane. 50 hurricanes appeared out of thin air, quickly became bigger, and swept toward the Temari encirclement. Temari was immediately dumbfounded. She never thought that one person can separate 50 shadow clones, and can also perform B-level wind-style ninjutsu at the same time. It can only be said that facing a RMB player like Naruto, she was not wronged at all. Temari first used the fan to smash the shadow clone chasing under his feet, and then he had time to turn on the fan, Samsung and brandish a more powerful wind-style. Wind-style Scythe Itachi. She wanted to use the more powerful wind-style ninjutsu, but she had no time to go to Kaien, so she could only use this Scythe and Itachi to block the hurricane in front of her, and then turn around. Body, waving the fan in other directions. But she didn't have enough time at all. The hurricanes on both sides have completely swept her, and for the first time she has tasted the feeling of using wind-style to abuse other ninjas. At this moment, a large mass of sand was inserted into the hurricane, Vice Admiral Temari protected and pulled out. Naruto turned his head to look at Gaara, who appeared not far away, his mouth raised, and his heart was eager to try. But when I thought that if Gaara released one tail show crane, it might affect Konoha's collapse plan, I could only suppress the desire in my heart. He looked at Sasuke and Kankuro in the distance. The two were still fighting, Sasuke's fire style, lightning style, and the endless puppet technology. Seeing the huge movement caused by Naruto's wind style ninjutsu, and Sasuke, who was defeated first by Temari, his face became cold and full of unwillingness. Kankuro was surprised. He didn't expect Temari, his always strong sister, to lose to a kid in Konoha village so quickly. What a shame to the village, two guys. Gaara controlled sand and put Temari down, looking at Temari and Kankuro coldly. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for defeating Sasuke for the 5th time, 7 defeats to Sasuke, mission completion degree is 57. Please host to continue to work hard to win mysterious rewards. Sasuke, you have lost again. Naruto ignored Gaara, who was pretending to be forced, but first looked at another Sasuke who likes to pretend to be forced. Kankuro saw Gaara coming, and was immediately scared to move. Sasuke also took the opportunity to end the fight with him, and walked to Naruto with a cold snort, apparently going to confront the 3 ninjas of Tsunade. You are the ninjas of Tsunade, what are you doing in our Konoha village? Little Sakura asked, standing next to Sasuke, watching the 3 men guardingly. HMPH, don't you even know the chunin exam? Kankuro snorted coldly. For Sasuke, the kid who looked down upon at the beginning, he didn't have time to beat him quickly, so he was a little bit angry now. Chunin exam. Little Sakura and Sasuke frowned and whispered. Hey, the yellow-haired kid over there, what's your name? At this moment, Gaara looked at Naruto with a dark circle and asked in a daze. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto replied, grinning. Then, the scene suddenly stood still for a minute, and Gaara and Sasuke both showed some irritation on their faces. You don't want to know my name? Gaara looked at Naruto, and Sasuke looked at Gaara and asked in unison. Haha. Naruto couldn't help laughing, and said to Gaara, I'm not interested. When Kankuro and Temari heard this, they immediately became nervous and looked at Gaara, panic, for fear that he would go crazy. Gaara squinted at Naruto for a while, gradually exuding a terrifying breath. In the end, his reason defeated the madness in his heart, but his eyes were cold and terrifying. Looking at Naruto, he said like a dead person, in the next chunin exam, I will kill you. Remember, it will be me who will kill you, Tsunade, sleepless boy, Gaara. After that, the insomnia boy Gaara turned around and left. Haha. Naruto shook his head, did not say anything, just thought in his heart, I want to get your head too. Killing you can earn me a lot of points. Ding dong. New mission release. Chunin exam. 1. The Virgin's Choice. Help Sasuke avoid Orochimaru's harassment in the next chunin exam, and keep Sasuke from defecting. Reward. Good Friends Halo 1. 2. Devil's Choice. Take the opportunity to kill, earn points, and strengthen yourself. Reward. Turn on Surah Field, and every time you kill a person, your points will double. Haha. Naruto was happy when he watched the release of the new mission. Every time there was a new mission, it would always bring him great rewards. Why doesn't Sasuke defect to Konoha? Is it to be slaughtered like me? I want to defect with him. Naruto thought so and made a decisive choice. I choose the second one. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for making a choice, Surah Field is open. Please host take advantage of this opportunity. Looking at the back of Gaara, Kankuro and Temari leaving, Naruto's eyes flickered involuntarily, and he was estimating how many points could be gained by killing the 3 of them. At the same time, Mount Myoboku. Jiraiya knelt on one knee in front of Toad Sage, and asked in confusion, Toad Sage, you called me in such a hurry this time. Is there anything urgent? Jiraiya, the new son of prophecy has appeared, but he is becoming evil. You must find him quickly and guide him. Toad Sage opened his eyes wide, and said hurriedly. Jiraiya was also a little surprised. The first time he saw Toad Sage looking anxious, he couldn't help asking, Toad Sage, who is the son of prophecy? Where can I find it? He is in Konoha village and his name is Naruto. Toad Sage said. Naruto, a familiar name. Isn't this the protagonist's name in one of my novels? Jiraiya asked suspiciously, thinking that Toad Sage was wrong. Idiot, Jiraiya, have you forgotten the name of Minato's child? Toad Sage opened his eyes wide and scolded. Oh, yes. Jiraiya suddenly realized that since Minato died in the Nine Tails Chaos, he returned to Konaha and took a look at Minato's orphan before leaving Konaha village again. In a blink of an eye, he has not been back to Konaha village for 12 years. Unexpectedly, the orphan is already 12 years old and has become the prophet. At first, he thought Namikaze Minato was the son of prophecy, so he asked for Flying Thunder God technique from 3rd generation and passed it on to Minato. Unfortunately, Minato died in battle and proved that he was not the son of prophecy, which made him sad for a long time. Who would have thought that Minato is not, but his son is the son of prophecy? Thinking of this, Jiraiya patted Toad Sage's chest and said confidently, "Don't worry, Toad Sage, no one can refuse to teach me personally as one of Sannin." After speaking, Jiraiya hurriedly left. The two old toads, Shinsaku and Shima, asked Toad Sage after Jiraiya left, "The ancestor of the fairy, did you have any dreams this time? Is the result not so good? Hey, I dreamt that this world will be destroyed in one event, and even our 3 holy sites are hard to protect themselves." Toad Sage said gravely. "What?" Shinsaku and Zima said in surprise, glanced at each other, and continued to ask inconceivably. "Our 3 holy sites have existed for thousands of years, and we have avoided too many risks. They did not expect to be able to avoid them this time." Toad Sage didn't answer anymore, just sighed again and closed his eyes and said nothing. With the beginning of the chunin exam, Naruto's heart could not help but began to fly, and even the sunglasses he had been wearing were taken off. Because he knew that in a month, the old 3rd Hokage coin would die, and his strength would skyrocket because of the opening of Shira Field. He does not think there is anyone in Konaha village who can restrain him. Danzo. He can't. When he was in a hurry, he defected and joined Akatsuki with the vest of a red-haired masked woman. When he and Pen came to destroy Konaha in the future, he would take the opportunity to kill Danzo. Anyway, the magical powers can completely conceal the Nine Tails breath in his body. Pain and Obito never thought that Nine Tails Jinchuriki was right under their noses. The next morning, Naruto and Sasuke Jr. Sakura went to the first exam site together. They came to the Konoha gatekeeper duo. Shinyuki Izumo and Genko Iron used illusions to change the door of the room number. I just saw the scene where Shaoli was clumsy and kicked to the ground by the two of them. Alas, I can only say that Shaoli is too honest. Naruto thought like this in his heart, raising his hand as two kunai throwing at Shinyu Izumo and Gangzite. The two quickly avoided, and their expressions were astonished as everyone present. "Remove the illusion, you guys are really boring doing this." Naruto spread his hands and said to the two of them. Shinyu Izumo sneered with a slightly ugly face, "What's the use of just seeing through the illusion? Do you think the chunin exam is that simple?" With that, he pressed his feet and came to Naruto, using physical skills to teach Naruto's provocation. Boom. Seeing Shao Sakura is like Shaoli who has been beaten up with chicken blood. He decided not to hide his clumsiness anymore. He wanted to show himself decisively. He stood between Shinyu Izumo and Naruto decisively and stopped the two who were about to do it. Well, actually Naruto didn't plan to do it because he knew Shaoli would do it. Shinyu Izumo and Gangzite saw that Konoha's genins were quite good, and they were a little surprised, so they took the opportunity to leave and gave up the passage. Shaoli went to the side to confess to Sakura, while Neji came to Naruto who was just showing up, put his hands in Kabuto and asked, "Hey, the guy over there, let me know." "Uzumaki, Naruto," Naruto said with a frown. Then, the embarrassing scene happened again. No one speaks anymore. A minute later, Neji looked at Naruto, Sasuke looked at Neji, and the two asked at the same time, "Don't you want to know my name?" Not interested. Naruto shook his head. Neji immediately turned angrily and didn't even look at Sasuke at all. "Here again, just ask Naruto." Sasuke clenched his fists. His face was also not good to look at. Yesterday he was ignored by Gaara, and today he was ignored by a cataract guy. Gone. Sasuke felt a sense of humiliation in his heart. He did not expect that he would be ignored by others, especially the one who robbed him of the limelight, still defeated his 5 times the tail of the crane Naruto. The desire and urgency to become stronger in my heart have become stronger. Naruto took Sasuke and Sakura away, and when they passed a hall, Xiao Li stopped them. "Hey, that yellow-haired guy!" Xiao Li yelled, catching up from behind. Naruto turned his head and looked at the other person amusedly and asked, "What's the matter, thick eyebrows? Now, do you want to have a showdown with me?" Xiao Li asked seriously. If you just use physical skills, I'm afraid I won't be your opponent, but if you talk about real combat power, you are not qualified now." Naruto said the truth. His physique has always been short-board, only the basic physique of the proficient level. Compare this with Xiao Li, proficient to find a beating. Xiao Li still wants to talk, but Naruto actually pointed to Sasuke next to him and said with a grin, "If you want to fight me, you can fight him first." Gone. The face of Sasuke next to him turned black. He wanted to refute, but sadly found that the reason was poor. "Naruto, how can you say that?" Little Sakura complained dissatisfied, but his tone was not as rigid as before. Since seeing Naruto defeat Sasuke many times with her own eyes, her heart has gradually changed. Young girls are always uncertain, either admiring handsome guys or admiring strong ones. In the original book, little Sakura has never seen a peer who is more powerful and handsome than Sasuke. Sasuke has both the handsome and the strong, so the little Sakura is determined. But now it's different. Naruto's strength has surpassed Sasuke, and even his appearance is barely equal to Sasuke because Naruto has changed his handsome clothes. People rely on clothes and horses and saddles. What else did little Sakura say was stopped by Sasuke? At this time, Sasuke's heart was full of anger and aggrieved, and he couldn't wait to vent it. Sasuke was about to step forward, but was stopped by Xiao Li again. "This is really, little Sakura, I will let you know how strong I am." As he said, Xiao Li's face flushed, and he was stunned to wink at little Sakura and send love. Hey, in front of our two men, molesting our teammates, when we don't exist." Naruto stood in front of Sakura, staring at Xiao Li dissatisfiedly. At this moment, looking at Naruto, who is not tall, standing in front of him, and then at the next to him, Sasuke, who is irrelevant to him, the balance in Sakura's heart finally began to tilt. "Come on, Sasuke, what are you doing in a daze?" Naruto pushed Sasuke forward and said, "Gum him." Gone. Sasuke flushed with humiliation, and vented all his strength to Xiao Li on the opposite side. "You will be taught a lesson for ignoring my Uchiha clan ninja." With that, Uchiha Sasuke rushed up. "Are you Uchiha Sasuke, the next rookie king? I'm really lucky," Xiao Li said, posing and eagerly facing Sasuke. "Sasuke, Daddy!" Naruto cheered for Sasuke from behind. Our Sasuke player rushed forward. He was kicked back. Our Sasuke player rushed up again. He was kicked back again. Our Sasuke player rushed up again. He was kicked back again. Sasuke's face was kicked and swollen. So, Sasuke opened his eyes. The intense anger and frustration directly made Sasuke open his eyes with anger. Just like when he saw that the whole clan was destroyed, he opened up a Go Jade Sharingan. Now he opened up a pair of Go Jade and has a 2 Go Jade Sharingan. Congratulations to Xiao Li, you have achieved the same achievement as Uchiha Itachi. Feeling the mysterious power brought by his eyes, the anger and suffocation in Sasuke's heart disappeared in an instant, but instead he was filled with joy and pride. Naruto, Sakura, and Xiao Li all looked at the changes in Sasuke's eyes unexpectedly, with different thoughts. Naruto, Xiao Li, you are so good. I thank you for Sasuke's brother. Little Sakura. Sasuke has the same Sharingan as Mrs. Kakashi, and then he will be able to beat the thick eyebrows. Xiao Li, is this the power of the legendary Uchiha? Teacher Guy, I will go all out and I will not let you down. Sasuke's small mouth tilted, revealing a sneer, her eyes narrowed, revealing a touch of evil. Whether it is illusion or ninjutsu, it is just a blind technique. I can definitely see through it. Humph. Come on, let you feel the power of Uchiha. After that, Uchiha Sasuke rushed up again. Boom. Sasuke was kicked in the handsome face by Xiao Li's big foot, and flew back in amazement. How is it possible? Even Sharingan. Little Sakura looked at Xiao Li incredulously. Gone. Even Sharingan can't see through. Is this guy's trick? Sasuke fell to the ground and stared at Sharingan, saying in disbelief. Yes, my trick is neither ninjutsu nor illusion, but pure physical skill. After Xiao Li finished speaking, he rushed forward again and beat Sasuke bang. Even if Sharingan can see through my movements, your body does not have the speed to cope with my physical skills. To put it bluntly, Sharingan can see, but his body can't keep up. If Sasuke who owns Sharingan is a genius ninja, then Xiao Li is an effort ninja. Now, the genius ninja is defeated. The unbelievers Sasuke rushed up again, and then was kicked into the air by Xiao Li again. Xiao Li, can you not just kick in the face? Not far away, Naruto looked a little worried, for fear that Sasuke would be kicked into a pig head, but he wouldn't. Return my fist, to Tang Bohu. Sasuke. Little Sakura ran forward and caught Sasuke who had landed. Sasuke's face was full of unwillingness and despair at the moment. He thought that turning on Sharingan would greatly increase his strength and defeat the thick eyebrows in front of him, but he didn't expect. How is this? How is this? Sasuke clenched his fists and slapped the ground grimly. Not only can I not beat Naruto, I can't even beat this guy. Xiao Li did not look at his defeated player Sasuke, but looked at Naruto and asked, "Are you the Naruto that Sasuke said?" "It's me." Naruto nodded. Xiao Li's face immediately stunned, and he thought, I didn't expect that this time the rookie would actually be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and there are even more powerful existences than the Rookie King. I want to seriously challenge you once. For this, I will use my taboo abilities. Unexpectedly, as soon as Xiao Li's voice fell, with a bang, Might Guy appeared on the water arrow turtle. Might Guy's eyebrows are thicker, his hairstyle is more like a watermelon, and his appearance is even more exotic. Sasuke and Sakura were dumbfounded, and even Naruto, who knew Guy, was full of grooves. It's really a Konaha beast. Kisame, this monster will die in the hands of this rare beast in the future, it's so good. On the other side, Might Guy looked at Xiao Li and smiled, his face suddenly changed, and he punched Xiao Li into the air. Then he hugged Xiao Li, and burst into tears, crying loudly. Li, you fellow, how can you use taboo technique casually? Teacher, teacher. This is youth. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura's jaws have fallen to the ground, and Sasuke murmured in a blank eye, I was beaten by someone like this. After a while, Might Guy realized the existence of the three Naruto not far away and asked, are you three disciples of Kakashi? Naruto curled his lips, and Sasuke said, yes, you know Kakashi. HMPH, don't talk about anyone we know or don't know, everyone else calls us eternal opponents. Might Guy poses again, and his teeth shine brightly. He remembered running with Kakashi in the sunset, that was their lost youth. It's a lie, Sasuke and Sakura said in unison. They couldn't imagine that the guy on the opposite side with obvious pits would be as powerful as Kakashi. Only Naruto knows that Might Guy is so much better than Kakashi, it's so amazing. Well, facts speak louder than words. Might Guy said, his voice just came from the front, but the people had already arrived behind the three Naruto. Sasuke and little Sakura were immediately dumbfounded, but there was a flash of heat in Naruto's eyes. Are physical skills great? Of course big. Even if he has a lot of chakras, the master's skills are very good. If he is a super blue mage, he has to learn a certain physical melee ability, otherwise he will become a crispy mage. In the future, when you encounter a sneak attack by a ninja like Guy or Ronin, isn't it going to fall into a box? Didn't you see that the ninja who relied on Mangekyo to fight like Lord Madara also possesses super powerful physical skills? Especially after seeing the brutal Sasuke scene where Xiao Li fisted to the flesh, Naruto became more eager to learn physical skills. Teacher, what should we call you? Naruto asked with a smile, turning his head. I am the Konaha blue beast, so is Might Guy. Guy gave Naruto a thumbs up, showing his white shining teeth. Then can you teach me physical skills? I think your physical skills must be better than Kakashi, so I want to ask you to teach me physical skills. Naruto looked at Might Guy expectantly. Naruto, you, little Sakura and Sasuke looked at Naruto in surprise, and they thought it was inappropriate to do so. Might Guy also looked at Naruto strangely. Although he was sometimes stunned, he wasn't really stupid. He knew how things were good or bad. That's not so good, after all, Kakashi is my friend. Might Guy hesitated and looked around, then suddenly left. Naruto saw this with disappointment in his eyes. Kakashi didn't want to teach him carefully, and neither did Might Guy. That's right, why do people teach him if they are not relatives or not? In fact, there are no skills or shortcuts in the training of physical exercises. It is nothing more than perseverance exercise, strong physical and nerve reaction speed. These exercises have been going on since Naruto came into this world, but the time is short and it has not been effective yet. Haha, forget it, since everyone can teach me, then I can only rely on system testing. Thinking of this, Naruto opened the system store in his mind and looked at two powerful physical skills, 8 inner gates and Reikage ninjutsu. 8 inner gates, strictly speaking, it is more like a desperate outbreak of forbidden technique, removal of physical restrictions. It has strong strength, large side effects, and requires persistent and arduous physical exercise. Reikage ninjutsu is a pure body refining technique, which can enhance physical strength and speed, and even defense. Naruto looked at the system mall. Reikage ninjutsu was an S-level skill, worth 1000 points, and he happened to have so many points. But the prerequisite for the exchange is that he has the thunder attribute chakra in his body, but unfortunately, he doesn't. Naruto was a little disappointed, and continued to look through the system mall unwillingly. Suddenly, a B-level ninjutsu came into his eyes, body flicker technique. He couldn't help but look at Sasuke, who just learned the body flicker technique from Kakashi. Thinking of body flicker technique, he couldn't help but think of Uchiha Shisui, known as Shunshen Shisui. It can be seen that body flicker technique can also improve strength when it is awesome. This is also a kind of physical skill. Isn't there a saying in the arena? Martial arts in the world are invincible, and only fast is not broken. Body flicker technique is worth 100 points, and one skill upgrade scroll is also worth 100 points. Thinking of this, Naruto made up his mind. System, exchange for body flicker technique and upgrade to the fantasy level in one go. Ding dong. After the redemption, 400 points will be consumed this time. Naruto looked at the personal panel and saw body replacement technique under the body flicker technique level of proficiency. Among them, body flicker technique can be regarded as the advanced ninjutsu of body replacement technique, but body flicker technique has a longer range of motion, and most of body replacement technique flees in a short distance. What if the two are combined? The system, first consume 100 points to exchange for a skill upgrading scroll to upgrade the body replacement technique to the superiorization level, and then consume 200 points to exchange for a supernatural power synthesis scroll and combine the body flicker technique and the number of substitutes into one magic power. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for obtaining the third gate magical power, Lingbo Weebu. Lingbo Weebu, his body is as fast as a ghost, and he can avoid a lot of melee and long-range attacks. Naruto flushed with excited fists, clenching his fists when he saw that this magical power was so powerful. At this time, he looked at his personal panel again. Host, Uzumaki Naruto. Age, 12 years old. Strength, Special Jonin. Chakra attributes, Wind, Water, Soil, gifted by Sage Body. Special title, Killing Heart. Points, 300 points. Supernatural powers, Ever-changing. Tie the fairy rope. Lingbo Weebu. Bloodline, Sage Body of the Uzumaki clan, level 4, God level bloodline. Deidara explosion style blood succession limit, level 2. Skill, Uzumaki clan Sage Body with skills, superior, huge amount of chakra, adamantine sealing chains, Kagura heart eye, physical healing, sealing talent. Deidara explosion style blood succession boundary skills, introduction, clay Asuka, ant. Multiple shadow clone technique, excellent. Body flicker technique, excellent. Transformation technique, superior. Clone technique, Body replacement technique, excellent. Super chakra control, beginner. Flying thunder god technique, Shaocheng. Impure world reincarnation, no entry. Tandem paper bombs, not started. Dark line technique, not getting started. Senju Hashirama wood style ninjutsu, not started. Senju Tobarama water style ninjutsu, not started. Basic physical skills, proficient. Basic illusion, proficient. Basic ninja throwing technique, proficient. Class B wind style ninjutsu, hurricane, proficient. C grade wind style ninjutsu, proficient. Great breakthrough, gale palm. Class C earth style ninjutsu, proficient. Fish in the earth, diving in the earth, beheading in the heart, hidden in the earth. Grade C water style ninjutsu, proficient. Water turbulence, water prison, water body. Item. None. His strength has been raised to the special Jonin level. Of course, mainly because he is good at sneak attacks and assassinations, even Jonin is very likely to kill. But if it is a head-to-head duel, I am afraid it will be worse. Naruto, am I really that weak? Next to him, Sasuke frowned. Sasuke-kun, you are actually very strong. Little Sakura was worried about Sasuke being hit, and quickly comforted. I asked Naruto. Sasuke glared at Sakura dissatisfiedly, and continued to look at Naruto. Little Sakura's face darkened, and then she stopped talking. Do you think that Sharingan is great if you use the To-Go Jade? Naruto looked at Sasuke with a smile. Why don't we try again? Okay. Sasuke nodded without hesitation, his eyes filled with warfare. He seemed to want to retrieve the unhappiness that had just been abused by Shaoli from Naruto. Are you ready? Naruto and Sasuke stood 10 meters apart. Sasuke did not speak, but stared at Naruto with Tsutomu's blood-red eyeballs, and sneered, this time, I will definitely be able to see through all your ninjutsu. Supernatural power, Lingbo Weebu. Woo. Sasuke looked at Naruto on the opposite side and smiled at him, but suddenly a figure flashed in front of him. Sharingan spun around quickly, just as hard as to see the other person's face close at hand. Why is another Naruto? Why is he so fast? Sasuke didn't have time to think about it, and subconsciously put his arms around his face and chest. Boom! Sasuke's face was hit hard from bottom to top, and the whole person flew into the air. Supernatural powers, can Sharingan see through? Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for defeating Sasuke for the 6th time, and the 7 defeats to Sasuke have a mission completion degree of 67. Please continue to work hard for the host to win the mysterious reward. On the way to the exam room, Sasuke kept his head down and did not speak. From the fists he kept clenching, he could guess that the other party was not at peace. I thought that after opening the Ergo Jade Sharingan, I would be able to run wild, but I didn't expect to be beaten by Shaoli first, and then by Naruto. There is no way. Who makes me a gangster? Naruto wanted to use these words to comfort Sasuke, but he was afraid of the irritation. The young Sakura next to him also wanted to comfort Sasuke, but he was afraid of being ignored or reprimanded by Sasuke. Before entering the exam room, Kakashi was waiting for them. He wanted to give the 3 people a final encouragement. Unexpectedly, not only Naruto ignored him, but his lover Sasuke also ignored him. Only the little Sakura nodded at him awkwardly, and then the 3 of them pushed the door and walked into the classroom. Over 100 genin from various shinobu villages have gathered in the entire classroom. Some are arrogant, some are weird, some are old, and some are young. But everyone looked at the newcomer Naruto with ugly faces. After all, they were all rivals who were going to fight next. Little Sakura couldn't help swallowing and spitting with so many ferocious gazes, an expression of nervousness on her face. Sasuke gritted his teeth and snorted, glaring back unceremoniously. At this moment, a young girl ran over and hugged Sasuke from behind, alleviating the tension of the 3. Sasuke-kun, I haven't seen you for a long time, I almost miss you. When the young Sakura saw that his rival for many years hugged Sasuke, the anger in his heart burst out, and the nervousness disappeared. He pointed to Ino and cursed. Quickly leave Sasuke, Ino pig. You are still so ugly, with a wide forehead. Ino replied unceremoniously. Naruto smiled amusingly, then looked at Shikamaru and Choji who followed Ino. Just about to say hello, I found that my future daughter-in-law, Hinata, followed his teammates Inuzukaga and Aburame Shino. Naruto involuntarily stepped forward and grabbed Hinata's little hand and said, "It's been a long time, my wife." Hinata's face immediately turned red into a cooked shrimp, and she was about to faint. Hey, this is the 3rd time, is it unnecessary? Naruto held Hinata in a dumbfounded manner, looked at his cute face, and didn't want to think about what he and Naruto would be like in the original work. Could it be that Tenten was lying on the bed and couldn't get fainted? He. Hey, Naruto, molesting our teammates in front of us, want to be beaten. Inuzukaga pushed Naruto away and said dissatisfiedly. This guy has always regarded himself as the leader of the class, and he is always rude. Naruto smiled again, spared Hinata, and let go of her little hand, but in the end he didn't forget to say, I will protect you in the next exam, my daughter-in-law. Hey, Naruto, you still want to protect Hinata from the tail of the crane. I just hope you don't ask Hinata to rescue you in the next exam. Inuzukaga said to Naruto, dissatisfied again. At this moment, a young ninja with glasses and white hair came from the side. He kindly reminded him, hey, you 9 newcomers, it's best to keep your voice down here. Naruto looked at Kabuto, the actor, and the corners of his mouth could not help but rise. For the actor Kabuto, he was envious and admired. An ordinary ninja without blood limit can actually become one of the big bosses of the ninja, and his talent and heart are really excellent. Next, as the senior, the actor Kabuto kindly introduced the information about the chunin exam to the 9 newcomers and received a wave of favor. Naruto didn't even have the mind to listen to what Kabuto said. He glanced at the number of people in the entire examination room. What are you doing, Naruto? Little Sakura asked when he saw Naruto's movements. The other newcomers and actor Kabuto also ended the conversation after hearing this, and looked at Naruto. I'm counting how many people took the exam. By the way, I forgot the existence of Kabuto-senpai. Kabuto-senpai, how many people are there in total, can you tell me? Naruto smiled and looked at the actor Kabuto. A total of 153 people, 51 teams. The actor Kabuto said it casually, watching Naruto's eyes full of playfulness. He was very interested in the tail beast and Jinchuriki, but it was a pity that Orochimaru was busy with reincarnation, and Kabuto had no chance to study it. 153 people. Naruto's eyes lit up. Except for a few more familiar teams that he was embarrassed to start, the other ninjas were his points, and they were double points after opening the Shira field. These ninjas who came to Konaha to take the exam were all elite genin from various ninja villages. No one would take some rookies to perfuse them. This would only make them weak and small, but would bring disaster to their village. Therefore, among these genins, there must be true strength that has reached Chunin's existence. Thinking of this, Naruto's emotions could not be calmed down. He involuntarily trembled and raised his right arm, pointing to everyone in the classroom and saying, I'm not targeting anyone, I just want to say that everyone here is happy. As soon as Naruto finished saying this, more than 100 gazes in the entire classroom were full of murderous aura and condensed towards him. Little Sakura grabbed Naruto's neck from behind and complained, what are you talking about? Don't cause us trouble. Naruto felt the softness after coming to him, leaned back and said, but I'm telling the truth. Little Sakura noticed Naruto's strangeness, blushed, and quickly let go of her hand. Sasuke also wanted to complain, but couldn't help but think of the scene where he was defeated by Naruto 6 times, so he kept silent and snorted coldly. At this moment, 3 figures suddenly sprang out from the crowd and rushed towards the people in front of the classroom. The 9 newcomers were shocked, and they all felt that the 3 of them came to beat Naruto violently because of what Naruto said just now. But in the next second, I learned that the 3 ninjas who suddenly came out went straight to the actor Kabuto. It turned out that Kabuto, the actor just now, accidentally said something. Otoyan village is the smallest newly established shinobu village. It's this big truth that made the 3 Otonin village dragon sets murderous against the actor Kabuto. The actor Kabuto must have an MMP in his heart, I don't know whether to say it or not. It is estimated that he thought this way. Master Orochimaru asked the 3 of you to deal with Sasuke. It's okay for you, TMD rushed to me first. It's a pity that these 3 Otonin village Ryutas didn't know that the actor Kabuto was their boss's personal secretary, otherwise they would definitely not have the guts to act on the secretary. Don't want to live anymore. Of course, they don't even know that their boss Orochimaru, who has been among the many candidates, is watching this scene with great interest. Naruto couldn't help laughing from the side. The actor Kabuto resisted the inner MMP, tried to control the body's natural reaction, and spared no effort to release a sea of water for the 3 sound ninja dragons. Then he abruptly withstood a sound attack, his glasses shattered, and he involuntarily vomited. It's really hard to come by. The voice ninjutsu in Otoyakura was researched by him in cooperation with Orochimaru. Naruto couldn't help but shook his head when he looked at the 3 rampant in long sets. No wonder these 3 guys were later regarded as sacrifices to impure world reincarnation in the original work. It must be because of offending the actor Kabuto. Alas, it's really 3 guys who do not live or die. At this moment, a large cloud of smoke suddenly appeared in front of the classroom. You trash all, give me peace. As soon as this remark came out, the whole classroom became serious. It turned out to be the first examiner Morino Ibiki, with many examiners on the stage. Have you watched enough outside before you come? Naruto sneered in his heart. Next, the first written test begins. Naruto took the number plate, sat in the front seat with a smile, and turned to look at the future daughter-in-law Hinata next to him. Will your daughter-in-law do me a favor? Knowing that the other party would not refuse, Naruto did not wait for the other party to answer, and took a right hand under the table, and took out a cute little tabby cat. Then put the little tabby cat on Hinata's thin shoulder. Raised an eyebrow at him. Thank you, wife. Let's work hard together, Naruto. Hinata blushed, lowered his head and said softly. Okay, Hinata, don't care about the first exam, I will protect you when I wait for the second exam. When all the candidates were seated and got the test papers, the chief examiner Morino Ibiki began to announce the next test rules. 1. Each candidate has a total of 10 points and needs to answer 10 written test questions. 1 point will be deducted for each wrong answer. Hearing this, little Sakura couldn't help looking at Naruto in front of him, gloating and thinking. Naruto, this idiot, will definitely get 0 points, and I will get full marks and pass the exam smoothly. Although Naruto defeated Sasuke many times during the period after graduation, this was only in terms of combat power. Little Sakura and the others knew what his written test results were like during the 6 years at the ninja school. 2. Qualification depends on the total test scores of the 3 members of the team. Hearing these words, little Sakura, who was still gloating just now, landed on the table, filled with despair. 3. During the exam, once cheating is discovered by the examiner, 2 points will be deducted at a time. In other words, some people may not have to wait until all the questions are completed and they will become 0 points and have to withdraw from the exam. Since you are ninjas, you have to take the exam like a good ninja. Morino Ibiki said this sentence quite meaningfully. Little Sakura is counting repeatedly in her mind at this moment. According to her and Sasuke's results, even if Naruto scores 0, the 3 will pass the test, right? 4. If one person in the squad scores 0 points, the entire squad will be judged as unqualified. As soon as they finished speaking, the faces of little Sakura and Sasuke changed abruptly, and they looked at Naruto with murderous intent one after another. 5. Question 10 will be given 45 minutes after the start of the test. Okay, 1 hour for the exam, start now. As soon as the voice fell, all the candidates looked down at the test papers on the table. Although Naruto knows the real purpose of this test, he is still very interested in examining the content of the written test of ninjas. So I still immersed myself in the examination paper, feeling like I was taking the exam in my previous life. According to the habits of his previous life, he started from the first question, doing what he knew first, and then doing what he couldn't at the end. Question 1. Cipher text. Password. Does Morse code count? No. Next question. In the second question, the parabolic bee in picture 1 is standing on a 7-meter high tree. Picture 2 has drawn the maximum range of Ninja A's shuriken. Question. What are the characteristics of the opponent's ninja? I actually took out the mental problems of the new generation of elementary school students from the previous life. No. The next question. The third question, mechanical energy analysis. What is mechanics? I kick you, and I hurt as well as you. No. Next question. Question 8, aromatic compounds. No. Question 9, no. Naruto put down the pen and raised his head with a helpless smile. Sure enough, I can't even test a ninja's written test. At the same time, Sasuke also found that he couldn't do a single question. Shueiba Jr. Sakura found that the exam questions were too difficult. I am afraid that only oneself can answer them all in the exam room. Soon, the 2 clever heads noticed the abnormality and discovered the true purpose of the exam. Other ninjas also discovered this one after another. As a result, a free large-scale cheating performance was staged in the next examination room. The first is the junior cheating players. Some rely on pet dogs, some listen to phonetic recognition, some send fly spies, and some use the principle of reflection. Then there are intermediate cheating players. Some rely on Byakugan to see through, some rely on Sharingan to copy, some use the heart turn technique to enter the body of little Sakura, and some use Sandai. Finally, our senior players came out. He raised his hand and shouted that I was going to the bathroom, and then he was taken to the WC by a proctor. In the toilet, the invigilator lost his shame. It turned out that he was only a puppet changing, and he was mixed into many invigilators in advance. In fact, Naruto most wants to know how Orochimaru, who was among the candidates, cheated. In the examination room, some people were eliminated one after another, some were dragged out crying and yelling, some were not convinced to provoke the examiner, and then they were slammed. After Hinata finished, he wanted Naruto to copy his test paper, but Naruto refused. He smiled and pointed to the little tabby cat on Hinata's shoulder. The little tabby cat suddenly turned into a cloud of smoke with a bang, and disappeared, and at the same time Naruto's mind appeared with Hinata's test paper answer. Clone technique and transformation technique are Naruto's best ninjutsu. Soon, Morino Ibuxi began to announce the last question. But before that, he asked the candidates to choose whether to answer the 10th question. If you choose not to answer, the 3-person team will be eliminated immediately and leave the examination room, but if you choose to answer and fail to answer correctly, the 3-person team can only be genin for a lifetime. This is purely Morino Ibuki's method of torturing the enemy, which will put great psychological pressure on many candidates. Sure enough, Morino Ibuki finished speaking, and soon some candidates raised their hands to announce that they would not answer the 10th question and quit. Seeing this, Naruto was immediately dissatisfied. In his opinion, these candidates are his precious points. If these candidates quit and leave now, how can he kill the opponent to get the points in the second exam? So Naruto raised his hand and slapped it on the table vigorously. Haki said passionately, "I won't escape, I chose to answer question 10. Even if I'm genin for the rest of my life, I won't give up my dream." Sure enough, after hearing Naruto's impassioned words, all the worries of the candidates in the classroom disappeared. Morino Ibuxi was a little angry, and looked at Naruto helplessly. He finally came up with the 10th question of the psychological stress test, but he did not expect to be solved so easily by Naruto. Now only 3 people have given up and left because of question 10. Morino Ibuxi waited for a while, and no one left. He had no choice but to announce the end of the first exam, and everyone suddenly realized it. At this time, something broke through the window, and Mitarashi Anko announced his identity as the chief examiner for the second game in this surprising and dumbfounding way. "If you want to take the second exam, come with my mother." After Anko finished speaking, the scene was a bit awkward. He looked at Morino Ibuki complainingly. Why are there so many candidates left in the first exam? As Naruto solved the 10th question in disguise, there were 36 teams of 108 candidates left in the classroom. Soon, the remaining candidates came outside the Death Forest. Only then did Naruto notice Orochimaru, who had changed his appearance. This guy, in the first exam just now, seemed as if he didn't exist at all. It's a terrible and cunning existence. The other existence that Naruto cares about is a kawaii girl with red hair and glasses. He already had a plan in his mind. This is where the second exam is located, Exercise Field 44, also known as Dead Forest. Kabuto said coolly with his hands in Anko. Many candidates looked at the heavenly trees and the huge beasts that occasionally appeared in the exercise field, and a breath of horror came to their faces, and they couldn't help but stun in their hearts. Dead Forest is a circular exercise field surrounded by 44 entrances. There are rivers, forests and a central tower. The distance from each gate to the central tower is 10 kilometers. Candidates like Naruto are going to survive and fight in the wild inside. Each team will then randomly select a scroll of heaven or scroll of earth. Within 5 days, you can enter the central tower if you hold both the scroll of heaven and the scroll of earth, and the number of people is still a team of 3. In other words, after entering the Death Forest, every team will be surrounded by enemies. Soon, the 36 teams signed a life and death agreement. After each received a scroll, they came to different entrances. After an order, they flooded into the Death Forest. Naruto stood between Sasuke and little Sakura, licked his lips, and ran into the dark forest without hesitation. The entire Death Forest is in his perception, and he knows the position and movements of each team, including Orochimaru, Shongrin, and an Anbu ninja who is still watching him secretly. The 3 of Naruto jumped forward among the towering trees. When passing a bush, his body disappeared in an instant, and Shadow Clone continued to rush forward without any sense of disobedience. No one, including Anbu Ninja, knew that he had come to escape. The body had already hidden chakra with Kagura's heart eyes and came to the big tree that had just left its mark through Flying Thunder God technique. Next, the Shira field is officially opened. After Naruto closed his eyes and felt the enemies around him, he opened his eyes, a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth, and his hands were sealed. 20 Shadow Clone appeared beside him, and then ran in all directions. His body still keeps up with the three of Shadow Clone, Sasuke, and Sakura in front. After Naruto's Shadow Clone, Sasuke, and Sakura ran towards the central tower for 3 hours, they decided to take a short break. Sasuke was about to fetch water, but was immediately stopped by Naruto's Shadow Clone, grabbed the water bottle, and smiled, "Let me come, just as I am going to pee." Sasuke nodded nonchalantly and agreed, completely unaware of what he had missed. Naruto's Shadow Clone smiled happily, and immediately walked towards the perception of Xionglan. At this time, Xionglan still belonged to Kaoyan village, and 2 of Kaoyan's companions were sent to Konaha village to take the chunin exam, and they would not be taken away by Orochimaru until later. Due to the separation from the 2 teammates, Xiongrin was forced to the corner by a huge grizzly bear alone and helpless. Just as the grizzlies opened their huge mouth to eat Xiongran, Naruto's Shadow Clone came out at the right time, and a handsome serial kick knocked the giant bear's head into a faint. A red heart appeared in Xionglin's eyes next to him. The hero who saves the beauty will not capture the hearts of all beauties, but when this hero is not only handsome but also powerful, it will definitely capture the hearts of beauties. "What's your name?" Naruto walked to the fallen Xiongrin and stretched out his right hand to Xiongrin. "Ah, me, my name is Xiongrin." Xiongrin blushed and put her little hand in Naruto's hand, and was gently pulled up by Naruto. "It's too dangerous here, hurry up and meet your teammates." Naruto chuckled softly, and left a Flying Thunder God mark on Xiongrin's palm. After the 7th class traveled for 3 more hours, it was finally discovered by others. A Rain Shinobi village ninja wearing a gas mask suddenly launched a sneak attack on Naruto's Shadow Clone, Sasuke, and Sakura. It's a pity that he didn't choose the target to attack, and was used by Naruto's Shadow Clone. Lingbo Weebu supernatural power came behind him in the blink of an eye and cut his throat. As for the distant ones, his 2 companions couldn't wait for his return, because Naruto's body also found them, and there was no accidental death waiting for them. At this time, in Naruto's perception, Orochimaru had spotted them from a distance and approached them, and Orochimaru's 2 men dealt with the Anbu ninja who had been monitoring Naruto. Naruto did not go to Orochimaru's side, but hid in the dark with great interest, watching Orochimaru's 2 subordinates and Anbu ninja fight fiercely. This plot is not shown in the original book, but it must exist. After all, it is impossible for Naruto to enter the Death Forest without the supervision of Anbu ninja. It is impossible to watch the 9 tails chakra inside the body being sealed by Orochimaru. There is only one explanation, and that is that the 2 of Orochimaru's men have eliminated Anbu ninja. They are all Jonin carefully selected by Orochimaru from Otoyakura, and the Anbu ninja is only one person. Even if the strength is the same Jonin, it is difficult to resist the attack of 2 ninjas of equal strength. Especially in the face of the sound attack that the Otoyakura ninja could not defend against. The Anbu ninja, who had no experience in coping with it, quickly fell into a disadvantage and was seriously injured. Just when the 2 Otoyakura ninjas were about to kill Anbu ninjas, the red-haired masked woman Naruto transformed into suddenly appeared. With Lingbo Weebu, supernatural powers came to the 2 Otoyakura ninjas, and 2 ninjas emerged from their hands. Tie the fairy rope swiftly entangled the 2 of them. But the other party is Jonin after all, so he reacted in time and avoided using body replacement technique. Naruto faced the escape of the 2 Otonin Jonin and was mentally prepared. With a flash of his body, he relied on his supernatural powers Lingbo Weebu to follow a sound of shinobu, and the immortal rope in his hand was like lion majesty, chasing after him. Finally wrapped his thigh, and took advantage of the trend to wrap his whole person. Then, Naruto disappeared in a blink of an eye with the famous Otonobu. It turned out to be a kilometer away by the hand of Flying Thunder God. Another Otonin who was about to rescue his companion was dumbfounded. He had just arrived in front of Naruto, and Naruto disappeared with his companion, leaving only a flying thunder god imprint that he couldn't see on the ground. Superior. Naruto's strategy is to use the flying thunder god technique, the eyes of Kagura, and the weird abilities of several supernatural powers to suddenly attack and destroy each enemy. Otherwise, facing Jonin's attack head-on, he would not be completely sure. Therefore, he can also be called an assassin ninja. Now, the immortal rope in his hand has captured a Yinin, and Kuwu instantly cut the opponent's throat, and then his body disappeared again and appeared in the previous position. The whole process only took a second. The second Otonin was still standing in the place where Naruto disappeared just now, watching the surroundings, but Naruto suddenly appeared in the same place again. He was shocked and wanted to avoid it subconsciously. So no surprise, Jonin, the second place, died. The seriously injured Anbu ninja watched this scene not far away, with horror in his heart, guessing the identity of the red-haired masked female ninja. Suddenly, he realized, "You are the murderer who caused the bombing in Konaha village before. The descendant of the Uzumaki clan." Naruto glanced at him coldly, without speaking. Talking nonsense with the enemy who is about to be killed is something that only villains and idiots can do. He stepped forward decisively and got the head of this Anbu ninja. Ding dong. Host kills 3 Jonin and earns 300 points, but Sura Field Mode is turned on and the points are doubled. Congratulations to the host for getting 600 points. 600 points. Can't it be exchanged for 6 skill upgrade scrolls or bloodline upgrade scrolls or 3 supernatural power synthesis scrolls? Haha, I like Shira Field. At this moment, the Naruto shadow clone, who was with Sasuke and Sakura on the other side, was suddenly cracked, and all the memories were passed back to his brain. His face changed, and he quickly walked towards Sasuke, where little Sakura was. It turned out that while Naruto was busy, Shadow Clone, Sasuke, and Sakura were attacked by Orochimaru. As soon as Orochimaru came up, he unleashed a powerful wind-style impact on the 3 and made his grand debut. The 3 of Shadow Clone evaded in time, and after the secret signal, they gathered together again. But Orochimaru's abuse of them is too simple, just a murderous intent is exposed. The murderous intent is as real as it is, making Sasuke and Sakura stiff, and there is a look of fear on their faces. At the same time, after Naruto's Shadow Clone was attacked by murderous intent, it turned into smoke with a bang and disappeared. Orochimaru's expression was stagnant, then he showed interest and licked his face with his long tongue. Sasuke and little Sakura were overjoyed. They felt that Naruto had used Shadow Clone while avoiding the wind-style attack. This shows that they can now get support. It is precisely because of this that Naruto's body learned of such a thing and rushed over here. Just when Orochimaru used 2 kunai to pretend to kill Sasuke and Shao Sakura, Naruto's body returned to its original form and attacked Orochimaru from a distance. Wind-style hurricane. As soon as the voice fell, a hurricane appeared out of thin air, swept towards Orochimaru from small to large, and lifted off sand and rocks, blocking the opponent's sight. Naruto took the opportunity to come to Sasuke and little Sakura, and took away the 2 people who were stiff and unable to move, so that they could regain their mobility. Unexpectedly, this Jinchuriki is very interesting. Orochimaru escaped the hurricane's attack, looked at the 3 Naruto who had fled with interest, and chased them away calmly. Will Naruto take Sasuke away safely? The answer is naturally no. He didn't object to Sasuke being planted by Orochimaru, and was later lured to defect, because Sasuke had no future in Konoha. Of course this is not the main reason is from his own consideration of Naruto. Naruto needs to ensure the smooth execution of the next Konoha collapse plan, and Sasuke and Orochimaru need to attract the attention of many people in the next few years. Orochimaru and Sasuke are also needed, these 2 support and cooperation partners that may play a role in the future. Even Naruto was still hesitating whether to defect with Sasuke next time. Therefore, at this time, Naruto helped Sasuke and Sakura regain their mobility, while deliberately slowing down the speed of escape, allowing Orochimaru to quickly catch up with them. In the face of the inhuman and terrifying Orochimaru that reappeared, even if Sasuke regained his mobility, he also lost his fighting spirit, and wanted to give Orochimaru the Scroll of Earth, so that he could spare the 3 of him. Seeing this, Naruto couldn't help but sneered. "Sasuke, why do you have this kind of thought? If you are frightened, take Sakura and run away, and I will deal with him." Sasuke's face was ugly when he heard that, but at the same time he realized his weakness and timidity, and had to renew the courage to prepare to fight Orochimaru. As for Naruto, his purpose is just to have Sasuke and Orochimaru fight according to the original plot, and he himself is going to pretend to be dead. As for what you want to kill Orochimaru, don't be kidding. Even if Naruto has these supernatural powers, he is not Orochimaru's opponent, but will reveal his strength. After all, these supernatural powers were used by him when he turned into a masked woman to walk in the ninja world incognito. How could such key information be disclosed to Orochimaru in advance? Naruto pretended to collide and attacked Orochimaru, but Orochimaru's tongue was wrapped around his body. He pretended to struggle left and right again, but in fact, he was secretly feeling whether the snake's tongue or his own immortal rope was more powerful. Orochimaru tied Naruto in front of him, and then looked at Naruto with interest, but did not dare to kill Naruto. Because he knows that Naruto is Jinchuriki, and that Naruto is the prey of Akatsuki, if Naruto is killed, he will be avenged endlessly by Akatsuki. Orochimaru didn't want to be chased by Akatsuki, but he was also ready to make a little trouble for Akatsuki. So he lifted off Naruto's shirt, a gloomy flame burned on every finger of his right hand, and then he buckled Naruto's abdomen and shouted, "Seal of the 5 elements." Naruto had to feel the sharp pain from the abdomen, yelling, and then was thrown away by Orochimaru casually. Seeing this, Sakura hurried over to hug Naruto. But Naruto pretended to be in a coma, and even though the little Sakura shouted, he did not wake up, because the following will be the showtime of Orochimaru and Sasuke. Sasuke saw that Naruto was seriously injured and unconscious, and now he could only rely on himself, so he turned on the Sharingan and started a wonderful battle and performance. Naruto lay on the ground, held in her arms by the little Sakura, and secretly opened one eye to watch Sasuke's wonderful battle show. Unfortunately, Sasuke's hard work was unable to kill Orochimaru, who was slippery in autumn. Orochimaru put water on Sasuke with great interest to test Sasuke's abilities. He looked at Sasuke's eyes full of greed, as if he had seen how he would occupy Sasuke's body in the future. "You are more talented than your brother Itachi, Sasuke. Your eyes are more powerful than Itachi," Orochimaru said hoarsely. When Sasuke heard him mention Itachi, his face was grim, and he asked out of breath, "Who are you anyway?" "My name is Orochimaru. If I still want to see me, then try my best to show up in this exam. Defeat the Otonin trio under my control." After speaking, Orochimaru jerked his neck out more than 10 meters, and bit Sasuke's neck with one bite, and planted him a strawberry of love, the imprint of the curse of heaven. Naruto in the distance looked at Orochimaru's long neck and wanted to cut it off. But thinking about the other party's big snake flow body replacement technique, a new body can be drilled out of the body, just like a snake shed its skin, dispelling this unrealistic idea. After Orochimaru left, Sakura took Naruto and Sasuke into a tree hole and took good care of the unconscious two. Since Naruto was sealed by Orochimaru's 5 elements, he has been carefully feeling this sealing technique from the Uzumaki clan. He possesses a seal technique talent at the superior level, and once mastered the Flying Thunder God technique from no entry to the Shaocheng level in one breath. An hour later, he understood this sealing technique and solved it smoothly. Then he stopped pretending to be unconscious and woke up, which made little Sakura very happy. Night had fallen, and the death forest seemed even more terrifying. Originally, she was still trembling and wanted to endure the crisis that may arise at any time by herself, but now, with Naruto, she has a backbone. After her heart is completely relaxed, she soon falls asleep. Naruto smiled, leaving a shadow clone looking at him and Sasuke, and his body felt the death forest under the night, with a bloody smile on the corner of his mouth. During the time they were fighting Orochimaru, 20 of his shadow clones had turned into red-haired masked women, and they began to kill in the entire forest of death. In addition to the other 9 strong teams in Konaha village, there are Shonglin team, Gaara team, and Actor Kabuto team. The remaining 28 teams, excluding Orochimaru team and the 7th team itself, 84 ninjas, all assassinated by shadow clone Luz. As for the earth coiling scrolls on these teams, except for the scrolls of the sky needed by the 7th squad, none of them moved, they were all hidden in the corpses. As a result, the few teams that survived weirdly discovered many of the corpses of the candidates who were killed. As for whether you will encounter the Gaara team, you don't have to worry at all. Because Shang-Rin has the ability to perceive, Yakushi Kabuto is as cunning as a mouse, and the Inoshika Cho team is known as the timidest escape trio. The Hinata team and Neji team both discovered the anomaly of Gaara in advance because they both had Byakugan, and avoided it far. As for these killed candidates, 10 have reached chunin level. Under the blessing of the Shira field mode, these 84 people provided Naruto with 348 points, plus the 600 points he got from the 3 Jonin he killed, and the original 300 points. He currently has 1248 points in total. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for getting 1248 points for his excellent performance. Shira field mode extended to the end of the third exam. Seeing this, Naruto suddenly flashed a plan in his mind. The second exam has already made him a lot of money. In the third exam, there will be a lot of Tsunade and Otoyakura ninjas, and even Konaha village ninjas. If these people can be killed, then the points he can get will be incalculable. I'm a little excited to think about it. So, how to kill more ninjas? Naruto thought, looked at his personal panel, and suddenly his eyes lit up. System, exchange 2 Bloodline upgrade scrolls to upgrade Deidara explosion-style blood succession boundary to level 4 God-level Bloodline. Ding dong. The upgrade has been completed. This time it consumes 200 points. Congratulations to the host for acquiring the second God-level Bloodline explosion-style clay blood succession boundary. As the explosion-style clay blood succession limit is upgraded to level 4, its attached skills Clay Animal and Clay Clone have all reached the superiority level. Naruto used the mouth of the palm of his right hand to chew a mass of ordinary soil, and only a moment later spit out a small mass of clay. Then he quickly pinched it with his hand, and a big white bird that could fly appeared in front of his eyes. Naruto nodded in satisfaction, looked at his personal panel, and made a summary of his several battles. Before Shadow Clone was blown up by Orochimaru's murderous attack, he felt that he needed to strengthen Shadow Clone's skills. Next, he is going to make trouble in the ninja world. Whether he leaves his body in Konaha or transforms his body into a masked woman to roam outside, he needs a Shadow Clone that is resistant to beating and stable, saving him always need to let the body came back to the rescue. System, exchange for a supernatural power synthesis scroll and combine the superb level of multi-shadow clone technique and clay clone technique into one supernatural power. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the fourth magical power avatar outside the body. 200 points will be consumed this time. Naruto felt it silently in his mind, and then he made a simple seal with his hands, and the soil on the ground instantly condensed into an avatar exactly like him. Now this clone should be his supernatural power incarnation outside the body. Except that there is no 9 tails in the body, it has the same blood and skills as the body. It's just that it's just condensed from ordinary soil. Next, you need to slowly turn the soil all over your body into white detonating clay, and then the entire body can explode. Turn into a masked woman with red hair. Following the order from Naruto's body, the avatar next to him immediately turned into the vest he used before. Next, this vest is his reliance on harvesting system points and making wind and rain in the ninja world. You don't need you for the second exam. Go ahead and prepare for the third exam as planned. At that time, we will give Konaha village a big surprise. The avatar outside the body and Naruto looked at each other, Kakuzu sneered in his mouth, and then left here and disappeared. Since Naruto's shadow clone had killed the 3 ninjas in Otoyakura in advance this time, there was no scene that Orochimaru expected to appear. No one came to test Sasuke's strength after being sealed by the curse of heaven. The night was very quiet. Except for the corpses that were dripping blood, the entire death forest was extremely quiet. Even the huge animals felt an unusual breath. The opening of Shira Field brought blood to the entire terrifying forest of death. But in the early morning of the next day, Sasuke was inspired by the curse of the sky, and a purple evil chakra gradually emerged from his body. The left half of his body was covered with a black curse. He opened his eyes abruptly and stood up, and first observed the surroundings coldly. When he saw Naruto, an impulse of humiliation suddenly exploded in his heart. Now I can feel a steady stream of power emerging from my body. It should be the person who gave me yesterday. I am an avenger. Even if I sell my body to the devil, I must embark on the path to gain power. Little Sakura heard the words, her expression of surprise suddenly became at a loss. Sasuke looked at Naruto and continued coldly. HMPH, on the road of revenge, I should beat you Guy first. Naruto, dare you come and fight me again? Naruto was grilling a wild boar. After hearing Sasuke's provocative words, he turned his head and suddenly understood. It seems that the sudden power makes you unable to recognize yourself. Naruto clapped his hands, stood up, looked at Sasuke and smiled. Haha, do you think you can beat me even so? Ha, stop talking nonsense. Sasuke snorted coldly, pressing his feet, holding kunai and heading towards Naruto. Haha, it just so happens. After I defeat you this time, I can complete that long-term mission. I really look forward to that mysterious reward. The black curse marks on Sasuke's body quickly spread all over his body, and the purple chakra outside his body became more and more flaming. Fire-style Phoenix Fire Technique. Sasuke's not printing speed has become faster. Less than a second, he opened his mouth to spit out a dozen fireballs and went straight to the opposite Naruto. Sasuke, no, little Sakura yelled, trying to stop Sasuke, but to no avail. The movement here also attracted the nearby Neji team and Inoshika-cho team. They hid in the distance and looked at Sasuke in surprise. Naruto had already formed a seal. Seeing this, a hurricane hit his hands and headed away against the fireball. Wind-style hurricane. The hurricane blew all the fireballs apart, exposing the shurikens hidden in each fireball, and then blew these shurikens to pieces. But Sasuke's purpose of using fire style is not to expect fire style to hit Naruto, but to cover his body movement. Whoosh! Sasuke's figure came to Naruto's back in the blink of an eye, and the kunai in his hand slashed towards the back of Naruto's neck. Clang! Naruto quickly turned around, intersecting Sasuke's kunai with his hands, making a crisp sound. Sasuke, you are really ruthless. Naruto stared at Sasuke's eyes and complained uncomfortably. Ha, I will defeat you this time. Sasuke said coldly at Naruto, and then took out a handful of kunai with his left hand to stab Naruto. Earth-style heart decapitation technique. But at this moment, Sasuke suddenly stretched out his hands under his feet, quickly grabbed his feet, and pulled him into the ground, revealing only one head. Naruto's right foot kicked towards Sasuke's head without hesitation. Boom! The purple chakra on Sasuke exploded, sending Naruto backwards and flying backwards, but Sasuke jumped out of the ground and rushed towards Naruto. Facing Sasuke's aggressiveness, Naruto, who was still in midair, didn't rush. His thoughts flashed, and a dozen shadow clones appeared around him. Both hands were sealed at the same time, and when they landed, they just finished the seal, and at the same time they drank to Sasuke. With a cry. Wind-style hurricane. This move had defeated Sasuke many times before, but when Sasuke saw this move again, he couldn't help but sneer. He dodged the attack area and came behind a dozen shadow clones. At the same time, his hands were imprinted at a very fast speed, and his mouth was a dozen fireballs, and he rushed towards the Naruto shadow clones. A dozen of Naruto's shadow clone had no time to dodge, and they were attacked by fireballs and disappeared. But there is no Naruto's body here, and Sasuke is startled to jump up when he sees this. Naruto's body jumped down from the big tree next to him and kicked it hard at Sasuke, who was jumping. Boom! Sasuke's body turned into a piece of wood. It turned out that he used the body replacement technique at a critical moment and avoided it. But for Naruto, who has super perceptual power, the enemy's body replacement technique will not play a big role. After he noticed that Sasuke used the body replacement technique, he also used the body replacement technique at the same time, heading in the direction of Sasuke's avoidance. Sasuke ducked to the big tree next to him, looking at Naruto, who was still in the air and just kicked his wooden substitute, snorted coldly, and threw the two panes away without hesitation. But what shocked him was that Naruto, who was stabbed by Kuwu, was actually a stand-in. Sasuke, you lost again. Naruto's voice rang from behind Sasuke, and at the same time he kicked him out to Sasuke's waist. Sasuke felt the pain in his waist and his face was ugly, but he didn't seem to want to admit defeat. He twisted his body, and the knot of his hands released a dragon-like flame on Naruto. Fire-style dragon fire technique. At the same time, Sasuke threw out 2 thin silk threads, twisted them to the next big tree, and then swayed between the branches of the big tree like a swing. Naruto saw the fire dragon released by Sasuke and jumped to avoid the branch next to it. But as soon as he settled down and stood firmly, Sasuke swung behind him through a thin thread and kicked Naruto fiercely, as if he wanted to revenge for the kick he had just kicked. Boom! The kicked Naruto turned into a cloud of smoke. This is his shadow clone. Is it just one of his shadow clones who fought with me just now? Sasuke was shocked, and before he could react, he noticed hurricanes swept all around. Wind-style hurricane. Dozens of shadow clones had stood in all directions of Sasuke at some point. At the same time, dozens of hurricanes were condensed to give Sasuke a fatal blow. Sasuke wanted to escape, but found that there were hurricanes in the sky and underground. Standing on the branches, he could only put his back tightly against the tree trunk, cover his face and neck with his arms, and withstand the hurricane's attack abruptly. Swipe it. Sasuke's body swayed back and forth in the hurricane, was cut all over by wind blades, and then passed out with a plop. The purple chakra on his body disappeared, and the black curse mark all over his body also receded back into the rune of the heaven curse mark on his neck. Sasuke-kun. Little Sakura yelled distressed, ran over to hug Sasuke, and began to bandage his wound. She looked at the bruised Sasuke and wanted to blame Naruto, but after thinking about it, this was the battle that Sasuke provoked first, and Commander did not show mercy to Naruto during the battle. After the battle, Neji, Shaoli, Tenten, and Inoshika-cho, who had been watching the battle in the distance, all watched in amazement. They didn't expect that Sasuke would be so strong after the purple chakra broke out, and they didn't expect that Naruto was so strong that they looked up to them. Neji, who has always claimed to be the number one, couldn't help but snorted coldly and clenched his fists. He felt a great deal of pressure from Naruto. I wish I could meet you in the next third exam, Naruto. After Neji whispered, he turned around and left with Shaoli and Tenten. Before Shaoli left, he looked back at Naruto, and a high spirit of fighting was ignited in his heart. In his opinion, Naruto, who was not a genius and had no strong blood, is already much stronger than him, and he must continue to work harder. Oh, it's really troublesome, this year's chunin exam is really worrying. Shikamaru complained, and then left. Choji followed, and mumbled suspiciously, when did Naruto become so powerful? Didn't he often skip class with us when he was in school? Ino looked at the little Sakura who was holding Sasuke, and there was a flame of jealousy in his eyes. But as one of the timid trio, she didn't dare to step forward because he had a bad relationship with Naruto before, and now she was really afraid that Naruto would attack them and snatch their scrolls, so she could only turn around and leave unwillingly. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for defeating Sasuke for the 7th time. Complete the long-term achievement mission, 7 defeats Sasuke. Reward the host Uchiha blood succession limit. Sure enough, Naruto clenched his fists and snarled excitedly in his heart. The strongest bloodlines in the ninja world are nothing more than the bloodlines of Uzumaki, Senju, Uchiha, Hyuga, Kagaya, which are inherited from the Otsutsuki clan, and perhaps the bloodline elimination of 3rd Tsuchikage Onoki Chendun. As long as he defeats Sasuke 7 times in a row, he can get his powerful bloodline limit. This transaction is really worthwhile, and he really hopes that the system will give him a few more. But speaking of the system, with the system of Naruto, it is completely possible to use Bloodline Upgrade Scroll to turn on Sharingan and upgrade to the Mangekyo level in one breath. The point is, what kind of Mangekyo will Naruto get? System, redeem Bloodline Upgrade Scroll and use it to upgrade Uchiha Blood Succession Boundary. Ding dong. Uchiha Blood Succession Boundary is raised to the 1st level, and the host opens the Sharingan. Ding dong. Uchiha Blood Succession Boundary is upgraded to level 2, and the host turns on Sharingan. Ding dong. Uchiha Blood Succession Limit is upgraded to level 3, and the host opens 3 Tomo Sharingan. Ding dong. Uchiha Blood Succession Limit is upgraded to level 4, and the host opens Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto exchanged 4 Bloodline Upgrade Scrolls in one go, and directly upgraded Sharingan to the Mangekyo Sharingan level. But when he wanted to continue to raise the level of Uchiha Blood Succession Boundary in order to obtain the Eternal Mangekyo, a system prompt sound came. Ding dong. Uchiha blood succession limit has been upgraded to the highest level. If the host wants to obtain Eternal Mangekyo, please exchange and use Blood Synthesis Scroll after preparing another pair of Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto pondered the system prompts before finally confirming that his dream of obtaining Eternal Mangekyo in one breath is temporarily impossible to realize. At present, there are only 3 pairs of Mangekyo in the entire ninja world. If the Mangekyo, which will be opened by Sasuke of the second pillar in the future, is included, it is only a 4 pair. Master Madara's eyes can be thought of as Rinnegan. Even if Naruto takes it, it will only be a pair of Rinnegan. These 4 pairs of Mangekyo Sharingan, which one should Naruto choose? Which one can you get? After thinking about it for a while, Naruto stopped thinking about this idea that is currently somewhat unrealistic for him. Whether it is Obito or Itachi, or even Danzo, he is far from an opponent. Let's take a look at what capabilities his current Mangekyo Sharingan has. Mangekyo Sharingan is known as the Eye of the Portrayal of the Soul, with different abilities, representing the reflection of the deepest desires of the soul. Naruto used the Flying Thunder God technique to quietly come to the river with no one, and look down at his reflection in the river. He wanted to see what his Mangekyo was like. But the first thing that catches the eye is a 12-year-old boy with yellow hair, a barely handsome face, and 3 beards on each side of his mouth. This is what Uzumaki Naruto looks like, and it hasn't changed much from the original. But, what am I like? The reflection in front of him gradually blurred. At this moment, a few months after he came into this world, he finally realized again that although he was Uzumaki Naruto, he was not Uzumaki Naruto. His hometown is on another planet, where there are no ninjas, but there are TVs, mobile phones, computers, airplanes, tanks, missiles. And his original father and mother, friends and classmates. It seemed as if he had been in another life. He couldn't even remember the appearance of his previous life. What did he do in his previous life? Cannot remember. Has he ever dated a girlfriend in his previous life? Cannot remember. What did his parents look like in his previous life? I don't remember anymore. Who am I? Am I still me? In this world, his parents are dead, and few people really care about him. Even if Mr. Iruka treats him well, others will have their own family. Except for Iruka, only Hinata cares about him. But Hinata is too young. Naruto can't share the secrets in her heart with her, and it's even more impossible to tell her the distress and thoughts in her heart. I am alone. Lonely destiny. Destiny, besides accepting it silently, can we also work hard to change it? Just as he got to where he is now with the destiny selection system. Mangekyo, does it also contain the ability to free me from destiny? The reflection in front of him became clear again. His eyes suddenly turned into a pair of 8-pointed stars, with blood-red pupils and black 8-pointed stars, revealing a strong sense of mystery. Mangekyo. Naruto injected chakra crazily into his left eye, and the black 8-pointed star quickly spun, but nothing seemed to have changed. There was no black flame, and no mental shock. No, it's not unchanged. The flow of the river and the speed of fish swimming in the water have become much slower. What does this mean? The flow of time in this world has slowed down. Naruto gently raised his hand subconsciously, only to find that the speed at which he raised his hand doubled. It was obvious that he didn't use much strength, but he seemed to shake his hand violently. I only know, time has accelerated. Naruto shivered and murmured excitedly. It's not that the time of the entire world has become faster, but his own time has become faster. In this way, it was as if the world he felt had become slower. In fact, it was Naruto's own speed and reaction speed that became faster without any conflict. Obviously, the left eye Mangekyo's ability is time acceleration, speeding up his Naruto's own time. His body speed has become faster, his reaction speed has become faster, and his Jia Yin speed has become faster. In other words, his physique has become stronger, which greatly compensates for the current weakness of physique. Moreover, his ninjutsu release has also become faster. You know, the release speed of a ninjutsu is very critical. Just like the Flying Thunder God technique of Namikaze Minato, which trembles the entire ninjutsu world before, its power lies in the absence of seals and release delays. So, Naruto's overall strength has become stronger again. The only thing to worry about is the problem of longevity and the loss of vision caused by frequent use of Mangekyo Sharingan. The left eye Mangekyo is time accelerating, so what is the right eye Mangekyo? Thinking of this, Naruto closed his left eye, Mangekyo, and poured chakra into his right eye. Suddenly, the same black 8-pointed star appeared in the right eye and it spun quickly. He seemed to understand something in the dark. He took out Kuwu and slashed fiercely on his left arm, his skin and muscles cracked, and blood immediately flowed out of the wound. But the next moment, the blood flowed back, and the cracked skin and muscles healed immediately, as if the scene where he cut the skin just now was like an illusion that had never happened. Really? The corners of Naruto's mouth rose excitedly. Such a strange sight can only show that the power of Mangekyo in his right eye is time backward. Naruto used kunai to make another crack on the ground, but after a while, the crack on the ground did not heal. It seems that just like the acceleration of time, the flow of time can only affect me. After making a judgment, Naruto closed his right eye, Mangekyo, and couldn't help laughing anymore. No matter what kind of injury in the future, as long as it is not instantaneously fatal or affects the spirit and soul, as long as he has the ability to open his right eye Mangekyo, no matter how serious the injury or the negative effect, he can recover as before. If, coupled with the superb level of physical healing brought by the god bloodline, the sage body of the Vortex family, he really has an immortal body. Even the life issue that may be caused by the use of time acceleration has been solved. Mangekyo's time acceleration in the left eye gave him extremely strong physique and ninjutsu abilities. Mangekyo's time backward in the right eye made him almost immortal. Could it be that the portrayal of my soul is a strong desire for power? Naruto murmured. That's not right. What Naruto suddenly realized, time backward, the ability has one of the greatest help, that is, it allows him to open 8 inner gates infinitely. What will appear in the future? Yeming. Infinite Yi Ming. Naruto showed an extremely bright smile, and the world seemed to become interesting. Naruto cleared up his mood. During the time when Sasuke was beaten into a coma, he swaggered out, and when he came back he had a scroll of heaven in his hand. Little Sakura and Sasuke after waking up thought that he had grabbed the scroll from another team alone, but didn't expect it to be obtained by his previous best clone. Then, they gathered the earth coiling axis and headed straight for the central tower. It didn't take long before they met the actor Kabuto on the way. Unfortunately, Kabuto, the actor who wanted to observe Sasuke's battle situation, did not find a suitable opportunity, because many other dragon squads have been solved by Naruto clone. Soon, the 7th class came to the central tower and pushed in. After opening the earth coiling axis at the same time, summoning exited the long-awaited Iruka. Iruka encouraged them and explained the words on the wall about 3rd Hokage's warning to the new chunin. Then, Naruto and the others entered the Bidu Hall. At the same time, the actor Kabuto chose to enter another door, and said to Orochimaru who was waiting for him doubtfully. Master Orochimaru, something unusual seems to have happened in the Death Forest. Many genin squads are somehow destroyed, and the scrolls on them have not disappeared. Orochimaru nodded with a sullen face and said, I also discovered this situation, but who the murderer was not found. It seems that this time our Konaha collapse plan will be very interesting. As in the original plot, Mitarashi Anko had already discovered Orochimaru and was defeated by Orochimaru, and then reported this terrifying intelligence to 3rd Hokage. At this time, 3rd Hokage had arrived in the central tower and sent a large number of Anbu ninjas to search for Orochimaru in the Death Forest. Although they did not find Orochimaru, they found that many genin teams were abnormally destroyed. After 3rd Hokage got this information, he thought about it. He thought it was Orochimaru's work, but he didn't understand Orochimaru's purpose at all. Oh, Konaha village is about to come. 3rd Hokage sighed, and then asked the Anbu ninja next to him, is there any news from Jiraiya? We have found Lord Jiraiya and are persuading him to return to Konaha village. Anbu ninja replied on one knee. I hope Jiraiya can arrive in time. 3rd Hokage took a puff of his pipe, his eyes confusing. Master Hokage, now in the entire Death Forest, only one red-haired girl from Kalyan village is still alive. The other teams have already entered the central tower. Do you start the 3rd exam ahead of schedule? Beside, Mitarashi Anko asked. 3rd generation thought about it, nodded and said. Then start early, and end the things here early. We can also have more energy to find Orochimaru and make sufficient preparations. The 7th Squad and other teams that successfully reached the central tower gathered in the Bidu Hall. Naruto counted the surroundings. The 4 teams of the 12 small strong including him, Gaara team and actor Kabuto team, there are 6 teams, 18 genin standing here. There are also jonin, the leaders of the various teams, standing near them. Might Guy looked at the 9 newcomers of Naruto and said confidently. You are all pretty good, you are so lucky to be here, but then you have to rely on your true skills. As long as there is my team, you don't want to pass. After all, youth is sometimes sour and sometimes severe, don't you think? Kakashi. Might Guy finished speaking and turned to look at Kakashi next to him. Kakashi drooped the eyes of the fish and asked in a daze, huh? What are you talking about? Might Guy collapsed immediately. In addition to Might Guy and Kakashi, the other jonin and examiners in the hall are also observing these genin teams. Next, Mr. Hokage will introduce the content of the 3rd exam. Mitarashi Anko said to many genin. 3rd Hokage took a step forward, stood with his hands behind him, and looked at the many genins who said solemnly. Next we'll start the 3rd exam. Before that, I want to make one thing clear to you, and that is the real purpose of this exam. The purpose of our joint test with the allies is for the friendly existence of the allies and to improve together, but if you think so, it would be a big mistake. Actually, the real purpose of the exam is the epitome of the battle between the allies. From a historical point of view, our allies are now neighbors that have frequent wars. Later, in order to avoid frequent wars, countries chose this method. Many genins were in an uproar. In their worldview, there was no concept of war at all, and they didn't expect that the chunin exam, which they thought was a demonstration of strength, was actually related to the war between countries. This chunin exam is not only for the selection of chunin, but also for you ninjas who bear the prestige of the country to fight. In the next 3rd exam, there will be many entrusted parties, including big names and famous figures, who will come to watch your battle. The powerful ninja village will get more missions, while the weaker ninja village can only get fewer missions. At the same time, this is also announcing their strength and potential to other countries. Many genins felt uncomfortable when they heard this. Inuzukaga asked out aloud, then why do we have to fight hard? 3rd Hokage continued to say in a deep voice. Because the strength of the country is the strength of the ninja village, and the strength of the ninja village is the strength of the ninja. Only through desperate battles will you reveal your true strength. To put it bluntly, this chunin exam is a stage to show the strength of each ninja village to others. It is only meaningful if you fight for your life. After 3rd Hokage finished speaking, there was silence in the court. Only Gaara said impatiently, then hurry up and start this life-saving test. 3rd Hokage frowned and said, well, I'll start to introduce it next, cough cough. 3rd Hokage pretended to cough, and the examiner Moonlight Blast appeared immediately, kneeling in front of 3rd Hokage and said, I'm sorry, Master Hokage, I will introduce you as the referee next. 3rd Hokage nodded in satisfaction, well, it's up to you. Moonlight Storm heard the words and stood up, with dark circles under his eyes, like a sick tuberculosis ghost, coughing coughingly at the many genin and said. The number of candidates left is a little bit, so we have to conduct a qualifier first and reduce the number of the 3rd exam. After all, the big names who come to watch the game have precious time. You can't procrastinate the game. There must be time constraints. Quote. Some people were a little unhappy when they heard it. They had worked so hard to get here, and they didn't expect to participate in any qualifiers. Moonlight Hayate ignored their complaints and continued. Cough cough cough, is there anyone who is unwell and gives up early? Cough cough cough. Everyone turned dark when they heard that. I'm afraid it's you who are uncomfortable, referee Moonlight Storm. Naruto also looked a little speechless. Is Konaha no one? Must choose this tuberculosis ghost to be the referee. I don't know what is so beautiful about Uzushian. He doesn't look good, his body is weak, and his strength is not strong. After Moonlight Hayate finished speaking, the actor Kabuto raised his hand. I want to give up. I am not feeling well now, and I feel that I can no longer participate in the next battle. After speaking, he turned around without hesitation and left. 3rd Hokage looked at the actor Kabuto with a gloomy look, and said in a low voice, I've seen him here many times before. Mitarashi Anko next to him quickly flipped through the profile of the actor Kabuto. The actor Kabuto took 6 chunin exams, but all of them gave up midway, and his performance in the ninja school and after graduation was mediocre. Third Hokage heard the words and stared at the back of the actor Kabuto for a while, then nodded for a while. Naruto knows what Kabuto is thinking about. His task of collecting information has been completed, and he will defect to Konaha next, so he doesn't care what Konaha village will investigate him. Seeing the actor Kabuto's withdrawal, Sakura also kept begging Sasuke to withdraw from the game after he was hit by the strange curse. Anko on the rostrum also wanted to force Sasuke to retire and protect it. She did not think that Sasuke, who also got the Orochimaru curse, could persist. But this proposal was rejected by Kakashi and third Hokage. With a sullen face, Sasuke looked at Naruto who was standing in front of him, gritted his teeth, and stopped little Sakura's persuasion. I thought that after gaining Orochimaru's power, he would gradually become stronger and be able to find Itachi for revenge, but I didn't expect that he could even beat Naruto. This made him extremely depressed and angry, and said coldly to little Sakura. You don't need to be nosy. I should have said that I am the Avengers. The biggest significance of this exam to me is to fight against other ninjas to prove my strength. Little Sakura heard the words, her face showing loss. Cough cough cough. Then, is anyone going to quit? If not, the qualifiers will begin soon. Moonlight Hayate asked. Due to the withdrawal of the actor Kabuto, there were 17 candidates in the game. Moonlight Hayate, as the referee, began to introduce it. Now the qualifiers have officially started. Next comes the actual one-on-one battle. Cough cough cough. Because there are now 17 players in total, there will be 8 matches. One player will have a bye. The winner and the bye can participate in the third test. There are no rules until one party dies, goes into a coma or concedes defeat. Cough cough cough. After all, the electronic screen on the wall of the hall began to match the players. Start to match the players in the first match right away. The names on the electronic screen began to scroll, and soon, the first game against the ninja was decided. Sasuke and the male red bronze armor with sunglasses, who are also Konaha village ninjas. Although the red bronze armor is a teammate of the actor Kabuto, no one knows his and the actor Kabuto's spy status. According to public information, the red bronze armor is a garbage genin who has graduated for several years and only performs low-level tasks. Before going on the field, Kakashi told Sasuke not to use chakra anymore, otherwise his curse mark would riot again and even be killed. At that time, he will force the suspension of the game. Kakashi's words made Sasuke feel helpless and irritated. Now Sasuke can't even use ordinary ninjutsu. Sasuke walked to the center of the hall with the man in red copper armor with sunglasses, surrounded by a group of people eating melons. Naruto forces herself not to see Orochimaru, who has transformed into a leader of Jonin in Otoyan village, for fear that Orochimaru will notice him. He is not extremely afraid of Orochimaru, but he doesn't want Orochimaru to be distracted and affect Konoha's collapse plan. The battle begins. The man with dark glasses threw his sword at Sasuke. Sasuke wanted to stop it with Unstoppable, but because of the erosion of the curse mark, he was in pain and fell to the ground. The man with sunglasses took the opportunity to attack, and Sasuke seized the opportunity to use physical skills to restrain the opponent. But the man with sunglasses is not hurried, his eyes are full of jokes. He touched his right hand to Sasuke's chest, and Sasuke was touched with no strength in an instant. Then, he punched Sasuke's chest with a small fist and broke free of Sasuke's restraints. Then, before Sasuke could react, he pressed Sasuke's forehead with his right hand. At this time, Sasuke finally realized that the man with sunglasses had secretly practiced the star absorption dafa, and as long as he touched an enemy, he would absorb his chakra. The man in sunglasses is going to suck up Sasuke's chakra just like that, and this is what Orochimaru wants to see, because when Sasuke's chakra is sucked up, Sasuke has to rely on the power of the curse. But Sasuke may be uncomfortable being sucked, and suddenly kicked the man with sunglasses away. Sasuke, think about how you got slapped in the face by Shao Li. Naruto reminded Sasuke from a distance with a grin. Sasuke felt upset when he heard the words and frowned, but he immediately understood what Naruto meant. At this time, the man with sunglasses continued to attack Sasuke, but Sasuke gritted his teeth and avoided them one by one. Sasuke finally caught the opportunity. He is finally going to show up, finally starting to show. He kicked him on the face of the man with sunglasses, kicked the opponent into the air, and then flashed to the back of the man with sunglasses. But he just wanted to exert his strength on the man with sunglasses, but the curse mark suddenly broke out and began to erode Sasuke. Orochimaru in the distance looked proud, while Kakashi and Mitarashi Anko looked worried. But what shocked them next was that Sasuke actually relied on his willpower to suppress the curse. So Sasuke began to show again. He punched and kicked the man with sunglasses in midair, and when the opponent landed, a beautiful kick was pressed hard on the opponent's abdomen. This trick borrowed and adapted from Lion Play and directly defeated the man with sunglasses. Everyone was taken aback, and 10,000 alpacas ran past in Shaoli's heart. Just when Sasuke was exhausted and was about to fall to the ground, Kakashi appeared handsome and pressed his leg against Sasuke's back. Next, Kakashi hurriedly took Sasuke to an unmanned secret room, and prepared to use Finance Seal to seal Sasuke's spell seal. Naruto is not interested in this, and as to whether Kakashi will meet Orochimaru in the future, he doesn't even care. He looked at the man in sunglasses who was seriously injured and carried down with contempt. The man in sunglasses can absorb chakra's ability, which seems to be awesome, but in fact it is a tasteless one. If he can absorb other people's chakra into his own, like Samahata, that would be considered a magical skill. But he had so many opportunities to come into contact with Sasuke during the battle, why didn't he just stab Sasuke to death with kunai in his hand? The attack method of the man with sunglasses is not like a ninja at all. What the ninja pursues is to complete the task and achieve his own goals, rather than show his abilities like dazzling skills. Therefore, the man with sunglasses is not unjustly defeated, and he is at a genin level in his life. The second match was Aburame Shino vs. Akamichi Choji. Ji-na is a very good and high IQ talent, his strength has reached Chunin's level, and Choji is just a cowardly and timid genin. When Shino drove a large number of insects around from all directions, Akamichi Choji's cold sweat had soaked his whole body, and he had no courage to do it, so he simply surrendered. This scene made the surrounding Konaha shinobi shook their heads, they were really tiger father and dog son. Thinking of how famous his Ino Shika Cho is, and what a burly man Akamaiki Dingzo is, he actually gave birth to such a son. The third match was Kankuro vs. Kabuto's other companion, the softened, rubber man, Luffy of Hokage Ninja World. Kankuro's personality is confident and arrogant, but he does have the qualifications. He put the package behind his back on the ground with a bang, and then waited for the attack from the opposite rubber man. The rubber man quickly rushed forward and attacked first. Kankuro stretched out his hand to block. Unexpectedly, the rubber man's limbs suddenly extended, wrapping around Kankuro's body and locking it firmly. Hearing a click, the rubber man Kankuro's neck was directly twisted. The genin around him were shocked. They didn't expect Kankuro to die tragically in this way so soon. But suddenly, Kankuro's head turned 180 degrees, and he came face to face with the rubber man, like a ghost, almost scaring him to pee. It turned out that the locked Kankuro was changed by his puppet Crow, but Kankuro himself was hidden in the package just now, and has been manipulating his puppet through puppetry. Then, Kankuro directly controlled his puppet Crow and strangled the rubber man to pass out. In the third match, Kankuro won. In the fourth match, Sakura Jr. vs. Ino. Two girls who pursued Sasuke at the same time, from a good childhood friend to a later love rival, the story of which can really be filmed in a teary TV series. Fate's arrangement, at this time, the two girls met again, and they directly began to tear them with force, punching them to the flesh, and hitting each other in the face, using various face slap movements. Naruto is interested in watching from a distance full of excitement. I really want to take a bag of popcorn while eating and watching. However, Ino's scheming was slightly better, pretending to use the heart-turning technique to fail, but secretly used his hair and hair rope to control the little Sakura. Then she immediately used the real heart-turning technique, and the spirit entered little Sakura's body, wanting to use little Sakura's body to directly surrender and let herself win the game. It's a pity that she has a lot of calculations, No matter how much she's scheming, she didn't expect little Sakura to have a powerful mental body like a second personality, and she was directly driven out of little Sakura's body. The competition between the two directly consumed their physical strength. In the last face slap, both fell to the ground and failed to qualify for the third exam. In the fifth match, Temari vs. Tenten. Naruto looked at this Chinese-style Tenten girl with a good feeling in his heart, but the strength of the other party was really not enough. Tenten's attack method relies on a large number of ordinary ninjas, while Temari's attack method relies on more excellent Samsung fan ninjas. Although Tenten tried hard to throw all kinds of ninjas at Temari, they were all fanned by the opponent with a big fan. This was a crush on strength. Soon, Temari moved Scythe Itachi to Tenten KO. But Temari didn't even speak martial ethics, and threw Tenten toward the ground full of forbearance. Fortunately, Shaoli came forward in time to take Tenten. In the sixth match, Shikamaru vs. Inuzuka. These two guys, along with Choji and Naruto, were called a truant group when they were in the ninja school, and they were friends who played together. But Inuzuka's and Shikamaru's personalities are completely opposite. Shikamaru is a kind of troublesome, not fighting or grabbing, just thinking about lazy personality. Inuzuka is the kind of self-sufficiency in the sky and the earth. Lousy is definitely the #1 aggressive personality. At this time, he was scornful of Shikamaru, and he couldn't look down on Shikamaru's combat power at all. He felt that the opponent was still at a very weak stage, and his own victory was only a matter of minutes. So he was deeply crushed by Shikamaru's IQ. As soon as Inuzuka came up, he threw 2 smoke bombs at Shikamaru, and then rushed in alone to prepare to beat Shikamaru in a frenzy, but he didn't expect it to hit Shikamaru's arms. Shikamaru's shadow imitation technique turned directly to his feet, and controlled the inrushing Inuzuka tooth. Guzi Akamaru rushed over to the loyal savior, but Shikamaru controlled Shikamaru to hit Akamaru head-on, and the dog smashed into a feint. As a result, Shikamaru won easily. Chapter 31. In the 7th match, Shaoli vs. Gaara. Gaara, who was suffocated, came up and greeted with a gourd stopper. Shaoli rushed to the leaf hurricane, but was blocked by Gaara's sand wall and hit back. Shaoli backflips to dodge the attack, and runs a distance from My Love Lola, and then hits Gaara again, but all his attacks are blocked by Gaara's sand. Finally, Gaara controlled the sand and grabbed Shaoli and threw it out fiercely. The sand hit Shaoli again, and Shaoli kept backflips to avoid him, but accidentally stepped on the sand and fell to the ground. At the critical moment, Shaoli jumped up, backflips continuously, and landed on a high place. Seeing Shaoli's dilemma, Might Guy motioned to Shaoli, "Take it off." Of course, this is not to take off clothes, but to let Shaoli take off the weight of the leggings he was wearing. Temari looked at the 2 fluttering leggings in Shaoli's hands, and snorted in his heart. Didn't it just lighten the load a bit? What can be the difference? But the next second, I saw Shaoli throw the 2 leggings to the ground. Boom! 2 seemingly flirty leggings instantly smashed 2 pits on the ground, making all the ninjas in the hall dumbfounded. Unbelievable. Even though Naruto knew about this in advance, his eyelids jumped wildly when he saw it with his own eyes. I really don't know how terribly strong Shaoli's physical fitness is. If he was replaced with this leggings, I am afraid it would be troublesome to jump. Before he got Mangekyo Sharingan, he still wanted to open the 8 inner gates indefinitely, but now it seems that he still has a long way to open the 8 inner gates. But this did not make Naruto retreat. On the contrary, it aroused his desire to test. Why can't I do things that others can do? After the game, you must find Might Guy to apprentice, and you must learn the systematic exercise method. Naruto thought fiercely in his heart. After reducing the load, Shaoli began to show off. Gaara's sand defense began to fail to keep up with Shaoli's speed, and could only barely defend. Suddenly, Shaoli slammed Gaara with a kick, and then knocked Gaara away with another punch. But, at the next moment, Gaara stood up unscathed with a grim face. It turned out that he had wrapped his whole body with armor of sand long ago, forming a strong defense. Seeing this, Shaoli calmly opened the bandage on Shikai's hand and kicked Gaara in the face at a very fast speed, kicking him into the air. Then he leapt to Gaara in midair and kicked in a series of kicks. The last move, Biao Lianhua, slammed Gaara to the ground from top to bottom. But when the smoke cleared, Gaara's sand clone was in front of him, and Gaara's real body appeared behind Xiao Li. It turned out that when Xiao Li was in the air just now, because of his body overload, he was distracted for a moment, but Gaara seized this opportunity and replaced the body with the sand clone. Then, Gaara knocked Xiao Li to the ground with a trick of sand. Since he had just used Epilion Hua, Xiao Li's body has not yet recovered, so he can only resist the damage. Just as Gaara was about to launch the final blow, when the battle ended, Xiao Li opened the third gate of the 8 inner gates and the fourth gate of the fourth gate, and the flaming chakra burst out suddenly. His figure became like a ghost, and everyone could no longer see his figure clearly. Kakashi had to turn on Sharingan. Naruto watched this scene, eyes full of envy and longing. Then, Xiao Li kicked Gaara again with a thunder, and once again flashed beside Gaara in the air, and hit again. This time, he finally knocked out Gaara's sand armor. With the final blow, Xiao Li opened the fifth gate, his chakra burst even more, his speed and power surged again, and he showed Lilianghua to Gaara. Originally, his trick was used to deal with Neji, but now, in order to win the chance to take the third exam, he had to expose it in advance. Everyone in the field opened their mouths wide again, shocked. Naruto's heart seemed to be grabbed. He put himself in the position and thought about it. If he was attacked by Xiao Li in this state, it would be impossible to defeat Xiao Li except by using Flying Thunder God technique. Of course, the sage body of the Uzumaki clan can keep him alive. At this time, Gaara received a heavy blow and fell to the ground from a high altitude again. But the gourd behind Gaara suddenly turned into sand, slowing his heavy blow and protecting Gaara. Gaara escaped again. However, Xiao Li's body has reached its limit, falling to the ground feebly. Gaara looked at Xiao Li with a sullen face, and used sand-bound Ju, and was about to control the sand to wrap Xiao Li's left arm and leg to break and crush it. Naruto suddenly appeared beside Xiao Li, and patted the sand with both hands. Wind-style palm of Gale. A palm cut off the sand and saved Xiao Li's left arm and leg. Only then did Might Guy react and stepped forward to block Xiao Li. The referee Moonlight Hayate and Sunagaku led the team, and Jonin also stopped Gaara, who was about to launch an attack. In this round, Xiao Li lost, but he saved his arms and thighs. Might Guy and Xiao Li are grateful to Naruto. On the surface, Naruto smiled politely, thinking, I will ask Might Guy to apprentice next, shouldn't I be rejected? At the same time, he made up his mind that even if he learns 8 inner gates, he must first master a sword technique. Just like Xiao Li's attack on Gaara just now, if Xiao Li holds a sword that is hard enough, he will not only be able to break the armor of sand more easily, but will also be killed by a single blow, ending the battle early. Just like the attack on Sasuke by the man with glasses and red bronze armor at the beginning. The 8th match started very quickly, Hinata vs. Neji. Everyone cleared up their shock and prepared to watch the battle between the two Hyuga ninjas. On the one hand, the Hyuga clan's small public works, and the other is the genius of the branch house. Especially the parents of both sides still have grievances and entanglements. On the field, Neji turned on Byakugan and stared at Hinata, followed by a psychological offensive with a mouth cannon, and the petite Hinata shivered with fright. Hey, the guy who blames the heavens and the people. Naruto stood in the distance and stared at Neji dissatisfiedly. Don't think that you alone are the most difficult person in the world. I haven't seen my parents since I was born. Did I say anything? I was scolded as a demon fox. Did I say anything? I can only eat expired food. Fishing by yourself. Did I say anything? Complaining is just the behavior of the weak. The strong should use the way of the strong. Naruto's voice became more and more exciting. Everyone looked at him, and the ninja who knew the inside story couldn't help flashing a trace of sympathy in his eyes when looking at Naruto. Kakashi finally seemed to understand something. Only 3rd Hokage, his eyes gloomy, his surface calm, but he was holding back his anger. At this moment, he seemed to have some secret in his heart, but it flashed past. At the same time, 3rd Hokage is preparing to take new brainwashing or sanctions against Naruto after the chunin exam is completely over. It is absolutely impossible to let this dangerous idea in Naruto's mind again. But Naruto doesn't care about 3rd Hokage at all. At this moment, the countdown of the opponent's life has begun. Even if something accident happens, he will push 3rd Hokage and push him into hell. Neji looked at Naruto thoughtfully. He had also heard of Naruto, the celebrity, referred to by Qianfu, and even saw Naruto's dilemma in school and in the village. But how can one's inner thoughts change with just 1 or 2 sentences? At least wait for Naruto to knock him down and break his persistence. Now, not only Neji, but Hinata is also inspired by Naruto. Although she is not good at speech and shy and introverted, she who always pays attention to Naruto understands Naruto's suffering best. At this moment, Hinata was intent on fighting and decided to learn from Naruto, overcome all difficulties, and face reality bravely. She immediately turns on Byakugan and fights with Neji. The two began to fight back and forth. Hinata seized the opportunity to slap Neji, but Neji easily fended off, and Neji vomited blood. Hinata pushed away Neji's nowhere to put his hand, another palm. Neji didn't rush, lightly tapped, and then lifted Hinata's sleeve to reveal the dense red spots on it. Naruto felt distressed when watching this scene. Then, Neji knocked Hinata into the air with a palm, but Hinata still got up with difficulty. The two fought again. Neji seized the opportunity and hit Hinata's heart in one fell swoop. Hinata fell to the ground and couldn't afford it. Just when the referee was about to announce Neji's victory, Hinata stood tremblingly. Naruto looked silently, but clenched the railing in front of him with both hands. Neji sneered and persuaded Hinata to give up the fearless struggle, but Hinata gasped and said to Neji, "In the fate of the clan and branch house, Neji is the person who is really lost and painful." This sentence directly hit Neji's pain point. Neji rushed forward and was about to give Hinata a fatal blow, but suddenly saw a figure flash in front of him, and then he was kicked. Naruto stood coldly in front of Hinata, looked at Neji who fell to the ground, and said coldly, "It seems that you didn't listen to what Hinata and I said just now. Then after you calm down in the 3rd exam, you can think about it." At the end of the 8th match, Hinata failed and was carried away by the medical ninja. At this point, the qualifier before the 3rd exam is over. Winner: Uchiha Sasuke, Aburame Shino, Kankuro, Temari, Shikamaru, Gaara, Neji, and Naruto. The 3rd exam is about to begin. New battles and great turmoil are about to happen. Naruto has been waiting for this moment for a long time. Naruto and the other 6 genin who passed the qualifier stayed in the lobby, and 3rd Hokage began to explain about the 3rd exam. Sasuke is absent, so there are 7 people present. The next official game will show everyone's fighting to the audience. I hope you, as representatives of your respective countries, will give full play to your strength. In fact, there are only Konaha village and Tsunade genin. The official game will start in 1 month. We will notify the arrival of big names and famous figures in various countries in advance, and you also need to make more adequate preparations within this month. Next, the Naruto 7 began to draw lots to choose their opponents. Similar to the original, Naruto's opponent is Neji. Sasuke vs. Gaara, Shikamaru vs. Temari, and Shino vs. Kankuro. Naruto turned his head and looked at Neji provocatively. Neji snorted and did not speak. "So, can only 4 people become chunin in the end?" Shikamaru asked a key question. "Of course not." 3rd Hokage shook his head and said, "We will judge whether you can become chunin based on everyone's performance. Those who lose may not be able to become chunin, and those who win may not be able to become chunin." Quote. In other words, is it possible for everyone here to become chunin? Shikamaru's wife Temari then asked. Yes, but it is also possible that everyone can't be chunin. 3rd Hokage said in a deep voice. Well, everyone, see you in a month. At the end, 3rd Hokage glanced at Naruto and left. Senior Might Guy. Naruto chased up Might Guy and shouted softly, "I really want to learn physical skills, can you guide me?" Might Guy, Shaoli and Neji next to him turned to look at Naruto. Neji sneered and said to Naruto, "Do you think you can beat me by studying physique for a month?" Naive. Naruto ignored him and continued to look at Might Guy and said, "Ms. Kakashi will definitely go to coach Sasuke alone next time. I don't care about me. I think you are the best in the whole Konaha village, so I beg you again." Might Guy touched his chin and thought about it, thinking that Naruto had saved Shaoli's life just now, so he stopped thinking about other things, and gave Naruto a thumbs up. "Okay, next, you will feel the power of youth with us. Naruto, your choice is absolutely correct. Teacher Guy will guide you to become an excellent ninja." Xiaoli also gave Naruto a thumbs up and said the big white fang. On the day of the end of the qualifiers, Naruto did not go home, and directly followed Might Guy and Xiaoli to the training ground. The key to all physical training is physical fitness, so Naruto first started with physical fitness training. Might Guy taught Naruto a set of exercise methods he summarized, and gifted Naruto a pair of leggings with weights. Of course, the weight of the leggings is only half that of Xiaoli. He also wanted to give Naruto a comfortable green jumpsuit, but was awkwardly rejected by Naruto. There are no shortcuts to physical exercise, but it is a continuous and cyclical exercise according to the plan: exercise, exercise, and then repeatedly break through the limits of your body. Because Naruto has the sage body of the Uzumaki clan, his resilience is super strong, making his staying power a lot stronger. For example, ordinary people can only run for 3 hours, but Naruto can run for 6 hours while he recovers his strength and relieves muscle fatigue. So, it wasn't until 10 o'clock in the evening that Naruto was panting and couldn't hold on, and Xiaoli, who had already improved a lot next to him, was nothing but that. In this scene, Might Guy was surprised to find that Naruto is also a good seedling for practicing physical skills. He was more attentive to instructing Naruto, and at Naruto's plea, he finally agreed to teach Naruto a few physical skills in advance. In this way, Naruto can use Shadow Clone to master the physical skills in advance, and only after the body's physical fitness keeps up, he can exert more and more powerful physical skills. During this period, Kakashi quietly came to the training ground and took a look. He had found the glasses teacher Ebisu for Naruto to guide Naruto. After seeing the situation in front of him, he couldn't help but sighed and left. Early the next morning, when Naruto arrived at the training ground, he found a white-haired ninja lying on the top of a tree not far away and sleeping. This person is naturally Jiraiya. After receiving Toad Sage's prophecy and Third Hokage's emergency recall, this guy finally returned to Konaha. However, he also wanted to create a chance encounter with Naruto just like in the original book, and then show his powerful strength, let Naruto take the initiative to come to apprentice. But unexpectedly, the current Naruto ignored it. Naruto followed the plan Might Guy gave him yesterday, how to train, as if he hadn't seen Jiraiya. Soon, Might Guy and Xiaoli also came. These two guys are very nervous, and they don't care about the Jiraiya on the tree at all. Instead, they give each thumb a thumbs up and bright white teeth, and read about youth, declaration. At this moment, the pretending Jiraiya was uncomfortable. He pretended to be awakened, and muttered dissatisfiedly. What mess are you cultivating? Might Guy turned his head and gave Jiraiya a thumbs up, and said passionately, Hey, uncle, did you come here to radiate your youth like us so early? Your physique is too bad, I won't be with you. Jiraiya looked like a gentleman. Mr. Guy's physical skills are the best in the entire Konoha village. Even senior Kakashi can't match it. Xiaoli defended his teacher. Kakashi can't even compare to me. Jiraiya said, then the conversation changed. In this case, let you see my abilities. If I hit you, you can leave here as soon as possible and let me sleep well. As he said, Jiraiya glanced at Naruto who was still cultivating not far away, and found that Naruto didn't seem to be affected by the movement here, but just concentrated on practicing physical skills and physical exercises. Seeing Naruto use 50 Shadow Clone for training, Jiraiya was surprised, and he became more and more convinced of Toad Sage's prophecy. Naruto is the true son of prophecy. I must accept him as an apprentice. Strengthened his conviction, Jiraiya fought with Might Guy bang 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 without saying anything. He wanted to defeat Might Guy and let Naruto take the initiative to worship himself as a teacher. Might Guy's physique is undoubtedly the first place in the entire Konoha village, but Jiraiya has been in the ninja for decades and has too much experience in physique combat, so he is on a par with Might Guy. But Might Guy is a guy who gets more and more energetic, and Jiraiya is the second opponent he meets who can't stand against him in physical skills. So Guy yelled as if he had been beaten up with blood, his power in his hands was getting bigger and bigger. As time went by, the older Jiraiya couldn't hold on. He suddenly thought that Konoha had a strange flower called Blue Beast. He seemed to be the guy in front of him, right? Thinking of this, Jiraiya was afraid of making a fool of herself, so she simply summoning out a big toad, shocking Might Guy. No matter how slow Might Guy is, he also reacted at this time, looking at Jiraiya in surprise and asking, "Are you Lord Jiraiya?" "Huh," Jiraiya gasped twice, and muttered helplessly, "You finally recognized me." "Mr. Guy, who is Lord Jiraiya? Are you good?" Xiao Li asked curiously next to him. Jiraiya glanced at Xiao Li appreciatively, and thought in his heart, "This kid looks dumb with thick eyebrows and big eyes." Master Jiraiya is one of the legendary Sanins, one of the most powerful ninjas in our Konaha village. Might Guy explained, and suddenly turned to encourage Xiao Li. "Li, practice hard, you will have a day to surpass Sanin in the future." "Yeah, Teacher Guy, I will work hard." Xiao Li clenched his fists to Might Guy, promised, and then looked at Jiraiya in admiration with his eyes. Jiraiya nodded in satisfaction, then his eyes floated to Naruto not far away, but his heart sank again. He found that Naruto seemed unmoved at all, still exercising by himself. So, Jiraiya sighed helplessly in her heart, and could only actively shout to Naruto, "Hey, that yellow-haired kid over there." Naruto pretended to concentrate on training, and was not interested in Jiraiya's performance at all. Instead, he laughed constantly in his heart. Of course, it is not that he does not want to worship Jiraiya as a teacher. No matter what, Jiraiya is also a strong cage-level player. There are many benefits to worshipping him as a teacher. For example, Rasengan, Naruto now knows how to practice, but he can't do it blatantly, otherwise everyone around him will know that he has a secret. But following Jiraiya is not the same. Jiraiya will teach him Rasengan, and there are many unique ninjutsu on Jiraiya, such as celestial skills, such as the random lion hair technique. Next, if he wants to kill Gaara, he needs summoning to be the Toad boss. But he did this now, not because of Tsunade, but because of grievances in his heart. He didn't understand when he watched the original anime in his previous life. Why did ninjas, including Jiraiya and Kakashi, never visit and take care of Naruto? This time Jiraiya came to him, probably because of Toad Sage's bullshit prediction. At this moment, Jiraiya ate at him, and his heart felt a little smoother. Hearing Jiraiya calling him, he turned his head in disbelief and asked, "Hey, what did Grandpa tell me to do?" Jiraiya was immediately dissatisfied when he heard Naruto call him Grandpa, pointing to Naruto and shouting, "You fool, if Kakashi hadn't asked me to come and guide you for a month, I wouldn't want to see you as a guy. Ms. Kakashi asked you to come. I thought he didn't care about me." Naruto grumbled dissatisfiedly with grievances on his face. When Jiraiya saw Naruto's appearance, his brows twitched, and he felt thoughtful. All the information about Naruto since graduation has been learned in advance. He also probably understood what Naruto was thinking, nothing more than complaining and dissatisfaction. At the same time, Jiraiya also had a trace of guilt in her heart. Indeed, since the death of his lover, Yongdame, 12 years ago, he has only returned once at the funeral of Yongdame. After taking a look at Naruto, who was still in her infancy, he hurriedly left again. This is 12 years in a flash. And what kind of life Naruto has had in the past 12 years, he just learned. For this reason, he had a big fight with the third-generation old man yesterday. There was indeed some regret and guilt in his heart. Naruto knows that Jiraiya is not an old coin like third Hokage, but Jiraiya has been living for the dream in his heart, for the old toad to fool his prophecy. Is Jiraiya wrong? Naturally yes. Naruto admires him very much too. Anyone who has a dream and persists in pursuing it for a lifetime is worthy of admiration. Moreover, Naruto would not slouch and ask Jiraiya to care about him. The main reason is that the previous Naruto lived a terrible life, and the few relatives did not care about him. But since you don't care about me, the old grievances have completely disappeared. You are not my father's master, and I have no other relationship with you before. Of course, from now on, you are willing to teach me. I am very grateful, and will repay my teacher's kindness. This is the idea in Naruto's heart, not to owe anyone, nor to move himself too much. Although Naruto started to practice with Jiraiya, Might Guy gave Naruto the complete training plan for the next month. Even Naruto sends 50 shadow clones every day to learn physical skills with Might Guy. The next morning, Jiraiya took Naruto to a river, ready to take a look at Naruto's current practice. The difference from the original is that Naruto now has the sage body of the Uzumaki clan of the god-level bloodline level, and is not sealed by the 5 elements planted by Orochimaru. So he can suppress Nine Tails chakra very well, and he also has a huge amount of chakra himself. All this shocked Jiraiya, and couldn't help thinking in her heart. Perhaps it was because Naruto was the son of prophecy. In order to test the foundation of Naruto, he let Naruto walk on the water. He did not expect that Naruto had already exorcised the master by himself, which made Jiraiya feel even more gratified. So he decided to teach Naruto the unique Mount Myoboku summoning technique, which was also Toad Sage's wishes. Son of prophecy, I must be destined to Mount Myoboku. Just like Sage of Six Paths 1,000 years ago looking for Toad Sage Toad Pill to practice immortality. Can you feel another chakra in your body? Naruto, Jiraiya asked, looking at Naruto with a serious expression. Naruto's heart shuddered. He naturally knew what Jiraiya was asking. It was Nine Tails chakra. Naruto pretended to think hard and remembered, and said for a long time, I have actually felt it. It is a very evil red chakra that looks like a fox. What Naruto said was that after the bell robbery incident, he asked Kakashi to mentor alone and was rejected. He was angry and grieved and broke out once, but at that time he was forcibly suppressed by his Uzumaki sage body and reason. Then, you try to condense the red chakra now, Jiraiya said to Naruto. Naruto knew in his heart that Jiraiya was teaching him the basis of being a master of Jinchuriki, which was to call the chakra of the tail beast. In the past few months since the journey, Naruto has grown rapidly due to systematic reasons, and has subconsciously ignored the use of Nine Tails. The main reason is that he is different from Naruto in the original book. After all, he is going to be on the path of the devil. It is impossible to move Nine Tails with his actions like the original book. He doesn't need to do this now, because he has Mangekyo Sharingan. Nine Tails is not obedient, just call you obedient. Naruto pretended to condense the red chakra, but couldn't do it for a long time. Naruto, although the amount of chakra in your body is so large that it surprises me, the other red chakra in your body is a huge treasure. It would be a shame if you don't use it. It will be your unique powerful weapon. If you don't use it well, it will be like starving in a golden bowl. Having said that, Jiraiya couldn't help but squeezed Naruto's face, and continued. You don't need to practice the same practice as everyone else. No matter who you are, you have what you are good at and what you are not good at. You have your own unique style. You have so many chakras, so you should release them to your heart's content. Using these chakras for practice, you will be able to use more ninjutsu and tricks than others. Naruto agrees with Jiraiya's analysis. Wasn't he just using dozens of multiple shadow clone techniques to defeat the enemy and Sasuke using ninjutsu at the same time? Then what trick are you going to teach me? Naruto asked, pretending to be curious. Summoning. It's my unique and powerful summoning. Jiraiya smiled and said. Summoning. Jiraiya bit his right thumb, swiped the blood on the palm of his left hand, then slapped his left palm to the ground and shouted. Boom. A big toad appeared at Jiraiya's feet, opened his mouth and spit out a huge green scroll rolled with his tongue. This is the scroll that we have passed on from generation to generation to sign a contract with the Toad family. Next, as Jiraiya ordered, Naruto opened the scroll, wrote his name in his own blood, and printed his 5 fingers on the back. Then, at the place where you want to summon the toad, gather chakra and place the hand that signed the contract. The Jain Indian style is Hai Suyushin Wei. Summoning. Naruto slapped his palm on the ground, and a circle of mysterious black runes appeared on the ground beside his palm. Boom. Naruto raised his palm, only to see a small tadpole on the ground, the dragon wagging its tail. Depend on. How can I be as stupid as Naruto in the original book? Naruto growled in his heart. Cultivating until it got late, Naruto still couldn't succeed. Summoning came out with a toad. This made him feel a little upset, suspecting that his talent was nothing more than that. In the middle of the night, when Naruto was lying on the bed and felt that Jiraiya had left and Anbu Ninja could not see him directly, Naruto's eyes suddenly turned blood red, and the 8-pointed star-shaped Mangekyo Sharingan suddenly opened. Mangekyo Sharingan's existence seems to be to specifically restrain the tail beast. Naruto calms his mind. With Mangekyo's power and sealing skills, he quickly perceives the 9 tails sealed in his body. When his eyes turned dark, he found that he had come to a dark and damp place. In front of him was a very tall metal door with a huge seal charm attached to it. Obviously, this is where Ninetales is sealed. Boy, come to me. At this time, the big face of Ninetales was revealed from behind the metal door. His eyes were red and full of evil, and his voice was full of bewitching. I can see everything you have done in the past few months. Although I don't know where you got any power from, your heart has become more eager for power. Come to me, I can give you stronger power. Naruto stepped forward ignorantly, and gradually approached Ninetales. The corners of Ninetales' mouth gradually rose, revealing an evil sneer. Just when Ninetales raised its sharp claws and was about to take a photo of Naruto's head, Naruto suddenly jumped back to avoid it, and looked at Ninetales playfully. I'm teasing you, dude. Ninetales looked at Naruto furiously, the endless chakra surging out, but all was blocked by the sealing charm. Ha, Ninetales, I think you need to figure out two things now. Naruto looked at Ninetales and stretched out a finger and said. First, don't think how awesome you are. I want to abuse you. It's too easy. Ninetales was furious again upon hearing this, and yelled at Naruto, come on, let me see how you abuse me. Give a shameless thing. Naruto sneered, and flicked his right hand forward. A black and gold rope instantly caught the wind and went into the sealed gate, locking Ninetales' body, limbs, and head firmly, live. Ninetales struggled angrily, but found that the power in her body couldn't be mobilized. This bound immortal rope as a magical power. It is formed by the fusion of adamantine sealing chains at full level and seal skill talent at full level. The power is definitely more than 10 times that of adamantine sealing chains. Therefore, after the current Ninetales is controlled by the immortal rope, there is absolutely no possibility of a comeback, and it can only be slaughtered by Naruto. Naruto got up and jumped and landed heavily on Ninetales' big nose, causing Ninetales' painful tears to flow out. It glared at Naruto, his eyes full of murderous intent. Seeing this, Naruto lifted his right foot and kicked it into its eyes again. Boom, boom, what? Ninetales couldn't even shed tears this time, so she could only swallow for a while, and didn't dare to provoke Naruto anymore. After all, the power of her whole body was no longer available. Naruto saw Ninetales calm down, raised his second finger, and said triumphantly, "Second, look at what this is." After all, his pair of 8-pointed stars Mangekyo Sharingan was exposed. Ninetales looked at it and felt angry again, but it froze again in an instant. In the 1,000 years of history, he was controlled by Mangekyo Sharingan at least 3 times, from Indra to Uchiha Madara to Uchiha Obito. It has developed a deep resentment and fear for this evil eye. But there is nothing he can do. Naruto stared at a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan and looked at Ninetales sarcastically. He was naturally eager for the power of Ninetales, but there were only 2 ways to borrow the power of Ninetales. One is, as in the original book, wash away the darkness in your heart, and then wrestle with Ninetales' chakra. The most perfect thing is to make Ninetales trust yourself and be willing to fit with yourself. The second is, through Mangekyo Sharingan, once you use Ninetales' chakra, you can control Ninetales once. For the current Naruto, the first method is absolutely impossible. He has fallen into the devil from the beginning and needs Killer Bee to help find the mysterious place. The second method consumes Mangekyo's pupil power too much. Every time it is used, the eyesight will drop once. With this skill, it is better to directly use Mangekyo's time acceleration or time backward abilities to fight, and it must be a killer move. So, considering it all, it is really tasteless now to control Ninetales and use the power of Ninetales. I am here now, not to use you, nor to control you, but just out of curiosity to come and see you. Naruto shrugged and continued. Now that I have finished reading it, you are nothing more than that. It's boring, I'm leaving. Let's just say, Naruto didn't wait for Ninetales to open her mouth, and really decisively left. Behind him, only the roar of Ninetales remained. Kid, you're gone, don't take this broken rope together. Regarding how to smoothly summoning Toad out, Naruto has plans in mind. He opened the system store and saw that his personal panel displayed summoning, no entry, and he currently has 448 points. System, exchange for 2 skill upgrade scrolls, used to increase the level of summoning. Ding dong, Summoning technique has been upgraded to Shaocheng level, and the host consumes a total of 200 points this time. When Jiraiya saw Naruto's successful summoning come out a big toad the next morning, the eyes that looked at Naruto were full of admiration. In fact, he studied and succeeded in summoning in 7 days. Now Naruto can do it in only 1 day. He only thinks that Naruto's talent is really good. He didn't expect Naruto to be a bad guy. Summoning. Naruto Jain slapped his right hand to the ground, and most of the chakra inside his body was released with his right hand. Boom! A huge burst of smoke appeared, and Naruto found that he had stepped on a giant under his feet, because he had stood in the air tens of meters high. Jiraiya, why did you call me out? Toad Wen stared at Jiraiya at his feet, and asked in a bad tone. Whether it is Wanshi or Wentai, the tempers of these two top behemoths are not very good. Toad Wen too thought it was Jiraiya who summoned him again, but he didn't expect it to be the little demon Naruto on his head. Ah, that. Jiraiya scratched his head in embarrassment. He was frightened and helpless towards Wentai. After all, in the face of powerful enemies or other special circumstances, he needs to borrow Wentai's power, and Wentai doesn't need his help much. Therefore, the relationship between him and Wentai is not equal. On the other hand, Wanshi had a bad temper. Every time she appeared, he would always scold Orochimaru first. Fortunately, Orochimaru had a thick skin and didn't care, and he could still offer a living sacrifice to Wanshi. Big Toad, I summoned you out. It has nothing to do with Jiraiya. Naruto patted Wentai's head and said with a grin. Which one are you? Wen was too angry and shook his head violently, trying to shake Naruto off his head. Naruto's feet and chakra remained stable, trying to maintain his body, not letting himself fall from the top of Wentai's head. Wentai experimented a few times and found that Naruto couldn't get rid of it. His heart became more and more angry, and he shouted, "What is your name, kid? You have successfully angered me." "Me, Uzumaki Naruto. Have you heard of it?" Naruto said with deep meaning. Uzumaki Naruto. Toad Wen was too surprised. He heard Toad Sage say this name some time ago. It seems to be the son of prophecy that Jiraiya has been looking for, and Toad Sage, a very important guy. After hearing this name, Toad Wentai, who was originally angry in his heart, had to think about it in his heart. After a while, Wen Taikai said in a slow tone, "Since you called me out, if you want to be my master, you have to stay on top of my head until night." "Haha, no problem, I can definitely do it." Naruto agreed with a grin, and then leaned his whole body on top of Toad Bunta's head, and the right amount of chakra came out of his hands and feet, and it was tightly glued to Bunta's skin. At the same time, he quietly left a flying thunder god mark on top of Wentai's head. Toad Bunta started to jump up and down, trying to get Naruto off the top of his head. Naruto worked hard to keep himself from being thrown away. If he really couldn't hold on and was thrown into the air, he would immediately covertly pass the flying thunder god mark and return to Wentai's head again. In this way, with quiet cheating and Uzumaki Sage body's chakra and strong physical recovery ability, Naruto finally persisted until the night came. "Huh, okay, you won," Wentai said out of breath, then disappeared with a bang. Since successfully mastering the summoning technique, Jiraiya believes that he has discovered the talent of Naruto and taught Naruto more carefully. He wanted Naruto to learn to try to elicit Nine Tails chakra, just like other Jinchuriki, using the power of the tail beast, but Naruto sternly refused and said that he could not do it. Therefore, Jiraiya could only give up temporarily and decided to help Naruto cope with the chunin exam a month later. Anyway, Naruto's own chakra volume is also very large. The second ninjutsu he taught Naruto was not Rasengan, but various wind-style ninjutsu. He also said before that it is more appropriate to take full advantage of the huge amount of chakra in Naruto and unscrupulously release the powerful ninjutsu. Naruto naturally agrees with this, he has always done this before, and his goal is, tailless beast, Kisame. That big water polo is really pervert. But Naruto wants to have his own unique style, such as endless wind. Just like the typhoon in various disaster movies. You should be able to do Kisame's big water polo, right? So, for the next month, Naruto will set out 30 Shadow Clone to practice B-level wind-style ninjutsu every day, and set out 20 Shadow Clone to follow Might Guy to learn physical skills, and the body will exercise physical fitness. The physical skills here are just a variety of moves and force skills. Shadow Clone can also be used for learning. After it disappears, the experience and memory can be transferred to the main body. The Naruto main body can receive the master after a little exercise. Until a month later, Naruto mastered all 10 known and common B-level and A-level wind-style ninjutsu to the level of Shaocheng. In order to enhance the power of his wind-style ninjutsu, he upgraded the wind-style hurricane and wind-style palm of Gale of the proficient level to the level of superior. To this end, he exchanged 2 skill upgrade scrolls which consumed 200 points, leaving 48 points. Facts have proved that not only will the power of the skill of the level of superiorization be greatly improved, the printing speed will also be much faster, and it can even be quickly displayed with just one-handed printing. Naruto, your talent has shocked me. Jiraiya looked at the Naruto in front of him with only one hand to make a seal, and in less than a second, he displayed a powerful hurricane and was shocked. At the same time, I couldn't help but sigh. This can only be done by Son of Prophecy. In addition to wind-style ninjutsu, Naruto's physique has also been greatly improved, but the physical fitness has not been able to keep up, so the power of physique has not been revealed yet. During the month of Naruto's practice, his red-haired, masked woman incarnation was also busy. This avatar is a combination of explosion-style clay clone and shadow clone. It not only possesses god-level bloodline level explosion-style clay blood succession boundary but also has the ability of Uzumaki Sage body. The amount of chakra in the body is also amazing. Within this month, this avatar was making explosion-style clay day and night, and buried countless clay animals around the exam venue the day before the exam, and it is very likely that Tsunade and Otogaker will attack Konaha next. The area of engagement that was blocked. Oh, yes, and the tall roof where Orochimaru and 3rd Hokage fought in the original, the masked female avatar also left a dark hand. Only after the Konaha collapse plan officially starts. Today is the official start of the 3rd exam. The Fire Country Daimyo, important figures from various countries, and Konaha village people have filled the entire venue. Outside Konaha village, a large number of elites in Tsunade and Union village have also been in ambush. A shadow clone of Naruto found Hinata and took her to the training ground. Naruto-kun, don't you need to take the exam? It's almost starting. Hinata blushed, looking weakly at Naruto in front of him and asked. The little hand wanted to get rid of Naruto's big hand, but he felt weak. I am the shadow clone of ontology, and I want to talk to you, because after the exam, I will face another choice in life. Shadow clone pulled Hinata to sit in the training ground, looked at the direction of the test venue far away, and said calmly. In fact, it is not just the reason he said, but he also wanted to keep Hinata away from the danger that will happen next. Hinata is such a cute girl, Naruto can't bear to see her hurt, especially by herself. Naruto's shadow clone houses Hinata here, and Naruto's body is already standing in the exam venue. Beside him, stood Gaara, Hyuga Neji, Shikamaru, Temari, Aburame Shino, Kankuro. The crowd was watching and the audience was noisy, but 2 guys who didn't have a sense of time hadn't arrived yet. Shiranui Genma, who was quitting smoking while hanging 1,000 books, had no choice but to announce the beginning of the exam. As in the qualifiers, there are no rules for the exam until one party concedes defeat, coma or dies. The first game, Uzumaki Naruto's Hyuga Neji. The others go to the lounge first. When the referee Shiranui Genma announced the game, there were discussions in the surrounding stands. For Naruto, most of the villagers in Konaha village are familiar with it. Although Naruto has become an official ninja, coupled with the impact of the 2 bombings, basically no one will dare to speak harshly to him, but no one will feel how strong Naruto is. Many people still think of him as that little devil who can only play pranks on Hokage rock sculptures. On the other hand, Hyuga Neji was born in Konaha, and was the newcomer king in his current year. Many people think that Naruto has met Neji, and the result is doomed. All waiting to watch Naruto's good show. Now, the exam begins. After the referee made an announcement from Huo Xuanjian, he stepped aside and looked at the 2 blankly. Naruto and Neji stood opposite each other, looked at Neji's pair of Byakugan and smiled. I said that I will beat you up and make you close that mouth that always complains, and you hurt Hinata in the qualifiers. I'm going to solve it together. Neji heard the words and looked at Naruto disdainfully and said, "Don't worry, I will let you recognize reality. I really want to see your panic when facing reality." "Ha, then stop talking, let's get started." After Naruto said, with a thought, 50 shadow clone appeared around him, quickly dispersed and gradually surrounded Neji. At the same time, at the beginning of all unified actions, ninjutsu must be performed. Even the current Shaoli admits that Neji's physique is inferior. Naruto will not stupidly fight with Neji in close quarters. Even if he has studied physique for a month, he still possesses the magical powers of Lingbo Weebu. At present, Naruto is best at making full use of his own huge advantage of chakra volume to be a mage, rather than relying on magical powers Lingbo Weebu to fight close to the enemy. Neji obviously saw Naruto's plan, and he hurriedly drew up a shadow clone in front of him. But his Byakugan couldn't tell where the body was, and Naruto's printing time was less than 1 second. In less than a second, Neji's physique was so powerful that it had only time to break the 2 shadow clones apart, and then watch the remaining 49 Naruto, and at the same time used a rapidly growing hurricane in front of him. Swept to him. 49 hurricanes. With a solemn expression on his face, Neji stared at a pair of Byakugan, looking left and looking again, and found a weak spot of the hurricane and rushed away, ready to go around behind many Naruto and then eliminate each shadow clone one by one. But, can he really do what he wants? Neji's strategy is successful, because Naruto's shadow clone has not had time to form a complete circle of Neji. Bang bang bang, bang bang bang, bang bang bang. A series of 9 shadow clones that were releasing hurricanes were scattered behind by Neji, and the hurricanes that were releasing quickly dissipated. Neji sneered, and continued to attack the shadow clone next to him. According to his body speed, he might soon disperse 50 shadow clone. Seeing this, Naruto knew that his tactics had made some mistakes, and he underestimated Neji's speed and stamina. But he still has something to do. Naruto is very familiar with Neji's strength. He can revolving heaven, 8 trigrams 64 palms, and useless mouths, then. A dozen shadow clones stopped controlling the hurricane and turned around and threw a large number of kunai and shurikens at Neji. Neji sneered at this disdain. A large amount of chakra burst out of acupuncture points all over his body, and his body quickly rotated. Revolving heaven. Ping pong pong. All the ninjas were knocked into the air, none of them hit Neji's body, and even the ground was spun out of a big hole. Neji stopped spinning, looked at the many Naruto with a sneer, and began to hide. "I advise you to surrender and give up. You can't beat me. In the face of absolute power, your destiny has already been decided. A person's talents are determined from birth, that is to say, a person is destined for everything from birth. I heard that your dream is to become Hokage. Do you think everyone can be Hokage? People who can become Hokage are born with this kind of fate. Others don't want to be able to become it, because fate has arranged everything, and everyone must live in an irresistible fate. There is only one destiny that everyone is equal, and that is death." Boom. Just as Neji was talking vigorously, a palm suddenly broke out of the ground under his feet and pierced Neji's feet. The palm of the hand is covered with a white wind blade, making the entire palm like a sharp blade. The speed of Naruto's palm was so fast that he couldn't completely avoid it when Neji reacted. Pouch. Neji's right foot was pierced throughout, and Senbai's bones were exposed. What? Neji let out a painful growl, and exerted force on his left foot to avoid the next attack. However, his right foot was abolished, and his speed and body style were difficult to give full play to. Ha ha ha. Dozens of Naruto laughed at the same time looking at Neji standing on one foot, as if a golden rooster is independent. But Naruto is not a villain. Ridicule goes to ridicule, but he won't waste time, and he won't evade the enemy and give the enemy the possibility of counterattack. Wind-style hurricane. Wind-style hurricane. The remaining 40 or so Naruto once again resorted to a hurricane and quickly swept towards the one-legged Neji. This time, Neji could not evade again. His body was attacked by dozens of hurricanes at the same time, and he was swept into the hurricane like a dead grass, flying into the air, spinning and spinning. Countless wind blades cut countless wounds on his whole body, and blood covered his whole body, making him as if he had just come out of the blood tank. At the same time, dozens of trees that were devastated by the hurricane dropped a lot of leaves and gradually covered the ground. With Neji's blood shadow, it is a bit sad and beautiful. The audience in the field was stunned and couldn't bear to look straight. Unexpectedly, I really didn't expect. Naruto didn't want to kill the poor fellow Neji, so he cancelled the shadow clone and the hurricane subsided. Puff! Neji's body fell feebly from midair, and was held by the referee Shiranui. Shiranui Kenma looked at Neji, who was seriously injured and unconscious, sighed, and announced on the spot. The first game, Uzumaki Naruto, victory. In the second test, Sasuke was supposed to be against Gaara, but the guys Sasuke and Kakashi didn't know what they were doing, and they hadn't appeared yet. The audience in the field began to become dissatisfied. Just as third Hokage was about to disqualify Sasuke, Orochimaru, acting as a wind shadow, suddenly suggested that Sasuke be given another chance. Third Hokage saw that the surrounding daimyo and famous people from all over the world were looking forward to the performance of Sasuke, the descendant of Uchiha, and could only postpone Sasuke's game. Therefore, in the second game, Aburame Shino will play against Kankuro. However, Kankuro prepared to use the mystery in the puppet crow as a whole card, and saved it until Konaha's collapse plan was officially started, and decisively chose to abstain. This started to arouse the suspicion of everyone and third Hokage. Thus, the second game once again became Shikamaru versus his future daughter-in-law Temari. This battle was as exciting as Naruto versus Neji, because it fully demonstrated Shikamaru's high IQ. Temari came to the field with a big fan with great desire for battle. Shikamaru found it troublesome and was about to abstain, but was assisted by a god from Naruto and was pushed down from the rest stand. Shikamaru lay in the field and looked at Naruto on the high ground. There were tens of thousands of alpacas running around in his heart, wishing to beat Naruto to death. He still wanted to lie on the ground and didn't want to get up, but Temari suddenly pulled over with a fan. Shikamaru had to dodge quickly, drew a distance from Temari, and looked at each other helplessly. Temari waved a big fan, and wind-style side Itachi used a move towards Shikamaru, waving a lot of smoke and fluttering leaves. Shikamaru took the opportunity to launch the shadow imitation technique, but because the shadow was not long enough, he could not reach Temari. Temari immediately drew a fan on the ground, and then said contemptuously to Shikamaru, "Hee, you man is this length." Shikamaru ignored her, looked up at the sky, then put on a strange posture, closed his eyes and started to meditate. Yurihong in the stands thought that Shikamaru was going to use some strange spell, but Asuma explained that it was actually Shikamaru's usual habit of thinking hard after encountering a difficult problem. And Shikamaru is actually a super genius with an IQ above 200. Temari saw Shikamaru playing mystery, and used wind-style side weasel again on him, blowing up a lot of smoke and leaves, and the leaves were continuously blown by wind style, floating in the sky. After Shikamaru escaped the attack, he took the opportunity to use the shadow imitation technique again, but this time the shadow seemed to have grown a bit longer, but he still couldn't reach Temari. After that, she used a big fan to draw a line on the ground to mark the limit of Shikamaru's shadow. Then he blocked Shikamaru's vision with a big fan, and he hid behind the big fan and prepared to use the clone technique to control the enemy with one move. But the next second, Temari's movements suddenly stopped and he could no longer move. She was controlled by Shikamaru's shadow mimicry. Her face was unbelievable, but in the next second, she would understand. I saw a large number of leaves drifting down from the sky, projecting larger and more obvious Madara's shadows on the ground. It is these shadows that continuously extend Shikamaru's shadow, allowing Shikamaru's shadow to quickly bypass Temari's big fan and connect to the shadow at Temari's feet. These leaves were blown down by dozens of hurricanes from Naruto, and then blown high in the sky by several consecutive wind-style scythes of Temari, until then they gradually fell down and were used by Shikamaru. Shikamaru guided Temari to use a fan to measure the length of the shadow several times during the battle, so that Temari only paid attention to the shadow under his feet, for fear that the shadow would suddenly extend again. Thus ignoring the threat from the top of the head, Shikamaru has repeatedly induced Temari to use wind style to blow the leaves into the sky. All this is in Shikamaru's calculations. I lost. Just when everyone thought Shikamaru was determined to win, Shikamaru suddenly raised his hand and gave in. The audience was dumbfounded. However, some ninjas gave Shikamaru a very high evaluation. they are strategizing, knowing how to choose, and have the qualifications to become chunin and serve as a team leader. However, Naruto felt that Shikamaru had lost the game, but he begged a wife. Shikamaru really made a lot of money. Next is the last one, which is also the battle between Sasuke and Gaara. However, Sasuke was obviously affected by Kakashi, and he has not been late. The audience was angry and shouted loudly to express their dissatisfaction. Many people are willing to come to the Chunin exam competition. It is for Sasuke, a descendant of Uchiha, but Sasuke hasn't appeared yet. Third Hokage was also a little angry. When he was about to announce the disqualification of Sasuke, the wind shadow pretended by Orochimaru next to him exited again, and he bought another 10 minutes for Sasuke. Time passed by 1 minute and 1 second, until the 10-minute ultimatum was about to arrive. Suddenly the leaves flew, and the two powerful kings appeared. With a new skin and new clothes, Sasuke, like Kakashi, puts his hands in Kabuto, stands with his back facing each other, and touches the ground with one leg. Seeing Sasuke's arrival, Gaara walked down the stairs expressionlessly and came to the battlefield. Naruto knew that Gaara was about to kill two dragons in the stairwell who wanted to force him to fight a fake match, so he pulled Shikamaru's foot on the wall and returned to the rest stand. He didn't want to detonate the Gaara bomb ahead of time. He should proceed step by step, and don't add variables to Uncle Snake's Konaha collapse plan. After Gaara played, the game officially began. Sasuke threw two shurikens and was blocked by Gaara's sand clone. He saw this and immediately smashed the sand itself with a punch, and then continued to hit Gaara. Gaara wanted to block it with a sand wall, but Sasuke suddenly walked around behind him. This action was exactly the same as Shaoli's physical skills during the qualifiers, and then he smashed the sand armor on Gaara's face with a punch. I could see Shaoli and Might Guy in the audience exclaiming. Sasuke continued to attack Gaara, and Gaara continued to block with sand. Sasuke dodges the sand again in an instant, a gorgeous turn, and kicks Gaara away. Gaara, who was in retreat, began to seal. His face became more ferocious and cold-blooded, and soon, a sand egg wrapped him inside. Sasuke tried to hit the sand egg, but was stabbed by the sand counterattack, and had to step back and observe. Then Gaara condensed a trachoma, watching Sasuke's movements outside, while she chanted the scripture seal in the sand egg, like a mental illness. After another tentative attack, Sasuke found that Gaara's absolute defense could not be broken by conventional means. So he quickly retreated to the wall, made seals with both hands, and used Kakashi's signature ninjutsu lightning-style Chidori. Then a Luffy dashed towards Gaara's sand egg. Thousand birds thunder and lightning pierced into the sand egg instantly, injuring Gaara. Gaara in the sand egg felt incredible the taste of blood on his body. This was the first time he saw his own blood, and his spirit became even more mad, and he kept screaming. Sasuke tried his best to pull out the hand inserted into the sand egg, but unexpectedly brought out a large paw similar to one-tail Shuhei. He looked intently and was trembling with fright. Then the sand egg turned into sand and fell on the ground, Gaara clutching her injured shoulder, panting heavily, and finally showed up again. At this time, in the audience, Kabuto, the actor dressed as Anbu, saw this and finally started to act. He nodded his hands and performed a large-scale hypnosis technique on all the audience in the venue. Except for a few ninjas, most people fell asleep. When Naruto saw this, Sharingan's eyes flashed away, and he unlocked the illusion. At the same time, the two guards around Cage, Orochimaru threw two smoke bombs, knocking down the guards of Third Hokage, and showing their true form. Orochimaru hijacked Third Hokage to the wide roof with kunai, and killing Mat Protectors, Otonin 4 people, separated the 4 corners of the roof, and quickly activated the 4 purple flame formations, isolating the inside and the outside. The Hokage guards who came to the rescue wanted to rush into the barrier, but were knocked back immediately after touching the barrier, and burned all over. The movements of Third Hokage and Kaikage acted as secret signs, and immediately caused Atano and Sand Shinobi, who were lurking outside Konaha village, to act. The huge 3-headed snake was summoned and used as a tank to directly crash into the Konaha village wall and ram into Konaha village. More than 100 Sunagaku and Otoyakura ninjas rushed into Konaha village and fought against the defending Konaha shinobi. Unfortunately, the invasion was too sudden, and only a small number of Konaha shinobi joined the block in time. The disadvantage in numbers caused the Konaha village ninja to be killed and injured immediately. The exam venue is here. Naruto lay on the railing of the rest stand, watching with interest what happened in the venue. The excitement in his heart made him subconsciously lick his mouth like Uncle Snake. Kankuro and Temari beside them have entered the arena, standing next to Gaara, who has consumed a lot of chakra and is mentally ill. Their teacher Jonin and the captain of the Tsunade invasion force, Baki, stood in front of them and confronted Shiranui Genma, the referee of the third test, who was holding Senbon in his arms. Considering that Gaara's current situation is unstable, chakra is also consumed a lot, unable to summon one tail smoothly, and to ensure that Gaara can save consciousness and recover one tail. Baki had no choice but to let Kankuro and Temari take Gaara to a safe place, restore chakra, and stabilize the situation. Shiranui Genma coolly protected Sasuke behind him. After seeing Gaara being taken away, he realized that something was wrong in his heart and asked Sasuke to chase after him. In the audience stands, Kakashi, Might Guy, and Xiao Li were about to go to rescue third Hokage, but they were blocked by the actor Kabuto led by a large number of Otonobu. Xiao Li was rescued by Naruto in the qualifiers this time and was not seriously injured. Looking at Gaara who left, and his lover Sasuke, who was chasing by himself, Kakashi looked up at Naruto in the rest stand in the distance, only to find that Naruto had disappeared somehow. No way, Kakashi and Might Guy discussed. They could only ask Xiao Sakura and Xiao Li to wake up Shikamaru, then summoning out the talking dog Parker, and team up to support his lover Sasuke. No, to be precise, call Sasuke back to ensure Sasuke's safety. Because Kakashi has already sensed Gaara's anomaly and worried that Sasuke and the others are not Gaara's opponents. So where did Naruto go? Naturally, I went to arrange a big gift for Konaha village. Here, he would like to thank Orochimaru and Tsunade for their help. Not long after Kankuro and Temari led Gaara to escape, Naruto's incarnation of a red-haired masked woman stopped the three of them. With her strength, she suddenly appeared, knocking back Kankuro and Temari without any accident, and then reached out and touched Gaara's body, and quickly disappeared in place with Gaara. Only Kankuro and the other two were left in a daze. Naruto, it's you. In a small room, Gaara clutched his painful head and looked at the grinning Naruto in disbelief. Naruto sat down in a chair, looking at Gaara with interest. Where is this? How did you bring me here? Gaara looked at Naruto grimly, and asked coldly. This is where I used to live. A hint of mockery flashed in Naruto's eyes. Since the old house was blown up before, although Naruto changed his home, it was quickly rebuilt. Why did you bring me here? What is your relationship with the red-haired masked woman just now? Gaara asked impatiently. He always asked two questions at once, but Naruto only answered one. What? Naturally let you do what you should do. Naruto stood up and stopped talking nonsense to Gaara. The Mangekyo Sharingan in both eyes disappeared in a flash. Before Gaara could see Naruto's eyes clearly, he was passed by hypnosis. Because of Tsunade's tail beast seal technique Teikai, once Gaara is asleep, one tail show crane will get out of him, seize control of his body, and return to its original huge appearance. Boom! Sure enough, in the next second, one tail Shuhei appeared on the spot with a frantic laugh. The whole house was squeezed into ruins. Naruto brought Gaara here because it is the center of Konaha village and because the villagers around here are the ones who bullied him the most. Kunzi revenge, it's not too late for 10 years. Ha ha. When a behemoth suddenly appeared in the center of Konaha village, the entire Konaha village began to boil. Wow, I'm finally out. One-tail Shuhei laughed wildly, spitting out one powerful wind style around him wantonly. He was suffocated in Gaara's body, and he was a detached character himself. He suddenly came out today, so he has to play with it. At this time, the surrounding Konaha village houses were completely destroyed, and more Konaha village residents were seriously injured or killed. The tones of their screams sounded to Naruto, not a bit different from their previous yelling and insults. It's still so harsh and annoying. No, it should be said that it is comfortable now. Let Naruto unblocked physically and mentally, and groan involuntarily. At this time, Naruto suddenly felt a slight movement in the sealed nine tails in his body, and seemed to be contacting him. With a move of his mind, he was immersed in the sealed space and saw nine tails behind the gate. Little devil, if you let me out, I will avenge you. How about destroying Konoha village completely? Ninetales' voice is still full of bewitching. What kind of thing are you worthy of talking to me? Naruto looked at Ninetales, who was still tied tightly by magical powers, and snorted disdainfully. If you are willing to cooperate with me and make me a perfect Jinchuriki, freely quote your power, I can also give you some freedom, chat with you or something, don't think about other things, and don't bother me. Let's just say, Naruto didn't wait for Ninetales to talk to him again, and then withdrew from his mind again, looking at the surrounding ruins, his eyes filled with satisfaction. The red-haired masked female avatar appeared silently beside him. Naruto looked at her and asked, "Is the exploding clay lie in ambush?" "Well, the exam venue," the three-headed snake sighed, "and here are all ready, just waiting for the arrival of a large number of Konoha shinobi." The female avatar nodded with a sneer, her eyes were cold and indifferent, as if the next thing was trivial. "Haha, I can't wait." Naruto laughed, then turned his head to look in the direction of third Hokage, reached out and said, "First detonate the venue where Kakashi is located. There are not only a dozen Konoha elites including Kakashi, but also dozens of actor Kabuto-led Otonin." "Good." The female avatar made a seal with one hand and placed it on her mouth, and uttered, "Art as an explosion." On the other side of the venue, densely packed clay spiders suddenly emerged from under the seats and pounced on everyone who was standing. Including actor Kabuto and dozens of ninjas, as well as Kakashi, Might Guy, Asuma, Yurihong and other Konoha elites. These spiders appeared too suddenly, and their jumping ability was very good. Only a few ninjas reacted in time to avoid or kick the clay spiders. These female avatars are made with god-level bloodline, explosion-style clay bloodline. Not only can they be controlled remotely, they can automatically find enemies, and their power should not be underestimated. Boom. Rumble. Dozens of Otonin and several Konoha shinobi were directly killed, and a large number of Konoha village residents who were sleeping were affected. Even a few elite ninjas such as Kakashi and actor Kabuto were not killed, but they were seriously injured. They looked at each other and all realized that there was a third party in this war. Who will it be? Konoha shinobi like Kakashi think of other shinobi villages, such as Iwagakure who is good at explosion style. The actor Kabuto thinks of Akatsuki, because he knows that one of his masters, Sasori of the Red Sand, is partnered with Deidara, who has a similar explosion-style ninjutsu. Thinking of this, the actor Kabuto was so scared that he immediately ran away, and even the other master Orochimaru did not care. Kakashi lay on the ground feebly, their expressions full of anxiety. Naruto in Konoha village was about to rush over to harvest Kakashi's head, but he sensed that a group of Anbu ninjas had rushed to Kakashi's side. It is difficult for Naruto and the female avatar to beat these Anbus. Even if they attack with explosion-style clay, it is too late and can only sigh and give up. However, only the points gained from this small explosion made Naruto grin open after being doubled in Sura Field mode. Konoha village has an emergency response plan to face the enemy's surprise attack. In the first step, the Konoha Guardian Ninja tried his best to stop the invading raids, and bought enough time for the second step. In the second step, the Konoha shinobi in the village quickly evacuated all civilians, old and weak women and children to protect the vitality. In the third step, all Konoha shinobi players all counterattack. This kind of emergency plan was used by Konoha village when Ninetales invaded that year. At that time, the young Yurihong and all the young children were protected and transferred by his father Yuri Junhong. This time, this emergency plan was activated again. In the future, Pen will also be activated when he invades, but it is a pity that Pen carried rice upstairs and turned the entire Konoha village into a big pit. But now, one-tail Shuhei suddenly appeared in the center of the village and directly killed countless civilians. This kind of emergency plan failed to play a big role. Seeing this, other Konoha shinobi who were evacuating the crowd had to separate some of them first, trying to control the raging of one-tail Shuhei. Otherwise, it won't take long for them to evacuate the crowd, because the entire Konoha village will be destroyed by one-tail Shuhei. The destructive power of the tail beast, even the weakest one-tail, makes people feel desperate. Naruto and the female avatar smiled and watched the Konoha shinobi who were besieging and defending the crane and fell to the ground one by one, sneaking in and stealing heads everywhere without hesitation. The points in the system increase rapidly, and directly double in Sura Field mode. While Naruto and the female avatar were busy harvesting heads, 3rd Hokage and Orochimaru were in full swing on the roof of the exam venue. 3rd Hokage took the lead to attack, using the roof tiles under his feet as a weapon. Tile Shuriken attacked Orochimaru. Orochimaru jumped and dodged. Shulking Snake Hand bit the neck of 3rd Hokage, but only bit a mouthful of mud. This is the soil clone of 3rd Hokage. 3rd Hokage appeared behind Orochimaru, launched Earth-style Tulu Dae to restrict Orochimaru's actions, and then combined Earth-style Dragon Ball to attack Orochimaru. This is one of 3rd Hokage's best combo ninjutsu. But Orochimaru is not so easy to go offline. He actually got out of the ground unscathed. At the end of the warm-up, both of them took off their robes and turned on the serious mode. 3rd Hokage threw a few shurikens at Orochimaru, and then activated Shuriken Shadow Clone. Suddenly, several shurikens became densely packed with hundreds of them, and they attacked Orochimaru overwhelmingly. I saw Orochimaru folded his hands together and moved the Weeping Fortress Impure World Reincarnation to get out the coffin summoning of 1st Hokage and 2nd Hokage, and block the attack he picked up. He also wanted to continue summoning out the 3rd coffin, but 3rd Hokage had a foreboding that something was wrong and stopped it in time. Immediately after the 2 coffins were pierced with shurikens, the coffin plates could not be held down, and the 1st Hokage Senju Hashirama and 2nd Hokage Senju Tobirama in Impure World Reincarnation mode walked out leisurely. At this time, Orochimaru's Impure World Reincarnation should not have been perfected yet, and the soul of the ninja that came out of Impure World Reincarnation was greatly suppressed, and could only exert a part of its power during his lifetime. Otherwise, 1st generation and 2nd generation will be able to crack Impure World Reincarnation, as it did during the 4th World War, allowing Orochimaru to receive the lunch in minutes. It wasn't until Orochimaru and the actor Kabuto continued to perfect this forbidden technique, the soul that was reincarnated could exert greater power, but it was also easier to release it on its own. It can be said that there are pros and cons. This forbidden technique of playing with the souls of ancestors is not perfect. At this time, 1st Hokage and 2nd Hokage had a self-awareness and chatted with 3rd generation for a while. 3rd Hokage said, "Can you just tap it?" Senju Hashirama said, "Okay, I promise not to print." Senju Tobirama said, "Okay, I promise I only use water style." Then, Orochimaru interrupted the trio's recollection, inserting 2 pieces of talisman paper into the back of their heads. The 2 seemed to be angry, but they also immediately lost their self-awareness, and attacked 3rd Hokage like puppets. Senju Hashirama and 3rd Hokage first came to individual art combat, and 3rd generation repelled the 2, followed by a move Fire-style Fire Dragon Flare, spitting out raging flames and attacking them. I saw Senju Tobirama one move Water-style Water Barrier to easily block the flames, and then another move Water-style Shui Chongbo condensing a monstrous wave to the 3rd Hokage. Seeing this, 3rd generation opened its mouth wide and used Earth-style Wall defense to escape the disaster. But before 3rd generation could catch his breath, Senju Hashirama played surfing and attacked. 3rd generation hurriedly pointed out a round of fireballs to the opponent, but Senju Hashirama took it with his bare hands. The hair did not burn, and quickly approached 3rd generation. Then Senju Hashirama jumped up and began to violently beat 3rd Hokage and knocked him down. At this time, Senju Tobirama stopped talking about martial ethics and dragged 3rd generation into the water from behind, but 3rd generation was agile, and like a monkey, he climbed onto the wall of the earth with his bare hands. However, immediately after Senju Tobirama's several water cannons struck, they directly smashed the earthen wall into pieces. 3rd Hokage jumped down from the dirt wall in embarrassment and lay on the ground, panting. Suddenly, Senju Hashirama launched Wood-style the birth of the Sea of Trees, and countless thick trees grew rapidly from the ground, occupying the entire enchantment of the 4 purple flame formations. 3rd Hokage was shocked when he saw this, and quickly summoning brought out his powerful summoning beast. The surname of the Sarutobi clan where 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen belongs is probably related to the summoning beast. Orochimaru is often jealous of Saruma. Not only did Senju Hashirama step forward and attack, but he also spit out his Kusunaru sword, and started another round of physique battle with 3rd generation. But after a fight, 3rd generation used a 40-meter-long golden cudgel that was transformed by a samurai to suppress Orochimaru. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama took the opportunity to sneak attack on third generation, but third generation posted a detonation talisman on each of them. Orochimaru also started blasting third generation, knocking third generation to the ground, grabbing his collar and taunting him. Seeing this unsatisfactory beloved disciple in front of him, third generation wet his eyes, but then put away his emotions, reflexively blasted Orochimaru up, and detonated the detonating talisman. The bodies of Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama were blown to pieces, but because they belonged to impure world reincarnation, their bodies quickly returned to their original state. Orochimaru looked at third generation frantically and smiled frantically, then ripped off the skin on his face, revealing a young lady's face. Uncle Snake became Anti-Snake. Third generation was taken aback, and he knew that Orochimaru had already practiced living corpse reincarnation, forbidden technique. Living corpse reincarnation is an inhumane forbidden technique that can transfer one's own soul to another's body to achieve the purpose of immortality. However, the rebirth interval must be more than 3 years, and Sasuke is Orochimaru's next goal. After showing off to her teacher, Anti-Snake changed her face again and reverted to Uncle Snake. At this time, Senju Hashirama slapped both hands, and the trees in the enchantment grew wildly, attacking third Hokage wildly. Fortunately, Ape Demon Gang third generation blocked the attack, otherwise third generation would really be cold. But at this time, the elderly third generation was panting and exhausted. He gritted his teeth, knowing that today is doomed, so he decided to use Ghoul Sealed to die with Orochimaru. Ghoul Sealed is a ninjutsu that sacrifices the soul of the caster to Shinigami, and is launched at the expense of life. Fourth Hokage, who once saved Konaha village, used this technique to seal 9 tails. At this time, third generation separated 2 shadow clones, and made seals with both hands at the same time, preparing to seal Orochimaru, Senju Hashirama, and Senju Tobirama, respectively. Shinigami's figure appeared behind third generation, but only the operator could see it, and Orochimaru was completely unaware of death. Senju Tobirama used the most skilled illusion technique, the dark action technique, and the darkness in front of third Hokage's eyes immediately, but the 3 Senju Tobirama were not affected. It is said that this illusion was specially researched by him to deal with the Sharingan of the Uchiha clan, and it was later recorded in the Book of Seals. After passing through, Naruto once remembered the cultivation method. In the dark, third generation was very passive, but the 2 shadow clones still captured Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobirama. Shinigami's hand immediately grabbed the souls of the other 2 through the belly of the shadow clone and immediately sealed them. Orochimaru was taken aback and didn't even understand what happened. Third Hokage disarmed the shadow clone, and fought Orochimaru desperately with the golden hoop. In 3 or 2 strokes, Orochimaru's Kusunaru sword was blown off and Orochimaru's shoulder was held face to face. Immediately afterwards, Shinigami's hand passed through third generation's belly again, grabbing Orochimaru's soul, and immediately immovable. Feeling that something was wrong, Orochimaru immediately remotely controlled the Kusunaru sword to pierce third generation's body, and third generation vomited a mouthful of old blood. Suru Demon tried to stop it, but failed to catch up. Orochimaru's soul was slowly pulled out by Shinigami, and his face finally showed fear. For him who is obsessed with eternal life, death is the thing that scares him the most. So, he continued desperately remotely controlling the Kusunaru sword into third generation's body, hoping that third generation could not hold on to die sooner. Sure enough, third generation couldn't hold on anymore. He had no strength to pull out all of Orochimaru's soul, so he could only seal Orochimaru's hands so that he could no longer use ninjutsu. Orochimaru, who is obsessed with ninjutsu, can no longer use ninjutsu. This may be the biggest punishment for him. Orochimaru snarled weakly at the teacher third generation, but third Hokage slowly closed his eyes. At this moment, Naruto's female avatar suddenly flashed through the flying thunder god mark placed on the roof in advance, and his body was hidden in the dark, looking at third Hokage's corpse blankly. The 2 of them have been perceiving the situation here. Naruto was impulsive several times to kill third Hokage himself, but he was worried that he would be sealed by third generation, so he had to give up. The most important thing is that he also needs third Hokage to seal Orochimaru's hands, otherwise how can he get his trophy? The badly injured Saruman lay on the ground, crawling over to pull out the Kusunaru sword inserted into the third generation body, but was kicked by the female avatar to the distance and disappeared with a bang. This Kusunaru sword is really good. Naruto's female avatar stretched out her hand and drew out the Kusunaru sword, and by the way, she pulled out a piece of third Hokage's flesh and blood and hid it. Then he kicked third Hokage's corpse onto the four purple flame formation, and the flames immediately burned third generation's corpse to ashes. The Hokage guards, Anbu, Kakashi, and others outside the barrier were very angry. Orochimaru looked at the red-haired masked female avatar who suddenly broke into the barrier with shock and fear, but because his hands could not be printed, he could no longer remotely control Kusunaru's sword. According to Naruto's original plan, he had long wanted to get this Kusana sword that could be controlled remotely, because this sword reminded him of Flying Sword in the Fairy Shaw novels of previous lives. This sword is related to me. Orochimaru, what do you think? Who are you? Orochimaru's throat was hoarse, his arms dropped weakly, and a pair of snake eyes stared at Naruto's female avatar. Me. Guess. The female avatar blinked at Orochimaru playfully and said, "Do you want to kill me? Do you have that ability?" Orochimaru said coldly, "Haha, I don't want to kill you, but it doesn't mean I don't have the ability." The female avatar said seriously. "Ha ha ha." Orochimaru laughed frantically, "Do you think I can't kill you now?" "Ha, since you don't believe me, let's ask you to watch 2 fireworks first." The female avatar responded. At this time, Konaha village has begun to implement the third step of the emergency plan. All the surviving old, weak, women, children, and civilians have been moved into hiding, and the Konaha shinobi in the village have begun to counterattack. Jiraiya also arrived in time, summoning a big toad and crushing the 3-headed snake. In general, there are 2 main battlefields in Konaha village. The first is near the Konaha wall, where the 3-headed snake is. Sand shinobi, Oto shinobi and the 3-headed snake, tank, are engaged in a tank coordination battle. The second is near One Tail guarding the crane, and a large number of Konaha shinobi are besieging it to prevent it from wantonly destroying Konaha village. At this moment, the female avatar made a seal with one hand, watching Orochimaru's mouth rise, and screamed, "Art as an explosion." Boom. Rumble. Where the 3-headed snake and the Jiraiya big toad are located, and hundreds of meters around them, a large number of clay spiders drilled out of the ground and pounced on the many Konaha shinobi, Sand shinobi, and Otonin who did not react, and then suddenly there was a violent explosion. Boom. Rumble. At the same time, the Konaha shinobi who was besieging the crane at One Tail near the crane was also attacked and exploded. These 2 large fireworks directly killed a large number of Konaha shinobi, and almost all of the invading Sand shinobi and Otonin were killed. They contributed a lot of system points to Naruto and doubled their points directly in Sura Field mode. Naruto, who was hiding in the dark, laughed from ear to ear, almost revealing his figure. The Kakashi and others outside the barrier immediately realized that they were just attacked and injured by the red-haired female avatar inside the barrier. The Hokage guards and Anbu ninjas outside the barrier also immediately deduced that the female avatar was the culprit in the 2 bombings in the village a few months ago. The descendant of the Uzumaki clan. Konaha village is really ill-fated. Not only was 3rd Hokage dead, but even a large number of Konaha shinobi were killed or seriously injured. The current enemies are not only Orochimaru, Tsunade, but also this mysterious and powerful female ninja. Orochimaru looked at the 2 explosions in the distance. The snake pupil shrank suddenly, looked at the female avatar and blurted out, "You are Akatsuki's Deidara." After Orochimaru defected to Akatsuki not long ago, he was hunted down by the combination of Sasori and Deidara of the Red Sand, and he was more familiar with Deidara's combat methods. Haha, guess. The female avatar smiled triumphantly. "Now, do you think I have the power to kill you?" Orochimaru stopped speaking. Regardless of whether the female avatar is Deidara or not, at least she has the same cage level strength as Deidara. Even if he can't kill him, it can always cause him huge troubles. Even if he can escape smoothly today, it is a big problem. Staring at the female avatar for a long time, Orochimaru continued to ask with a hoarse voice, "What do you want?" He understood that the female avatar had said so much to him, there must be a conspiracy. "Hand in the contract scroll of Raichi Cave," the female avatar said with interest. That's right, Naruto's previous plan requires Orochimaru to get it, except for Kusunaru's sword, which is the contract scroll of Raichi Cave. He not only wants the contract Mount Myoboku, but also the contract Raichi Cave. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes when he heard this. Many people knew that he could summoning snakes, but they didn't know the name Raichi Cave. Even the close secretary actor Kabuto only learned about it later. The identity of the red-haired masked female avatar is very mysterious. Orochimaru did not immediately agree. He looked at the large number of Anbu ninjas waiting outside the barrier, and Jiraiya sitting on the big toad in the distance, and sighed helplessly in his heart. No way, now the situation is compelling. Orochimaru can only spit out a scroll in order to escape smoothly and hand over the contract scroll of Raichi Cave to the female avatar. The female avatar was worried about fraud, so she separated a shadow clone to catch the contract scroll, opened it, and confirmed that there were no traps. Then the female avatar, to be on the safe side, bit her finger on the spot and wrote her name on the contract scroll with blood, and left a blood mark on the 5 fingers of her right hand. Feng Bo Nian Ma, this is the name set by the female avatar. Suddenly, a sense of connectedness appeared, which was exactly the same as when Naruto's ontology contract succeeded in Mount Myoboku. All summoning techniques have the same seal, otherwise the boy Jiraiya would not accidentally come to Mount Myoboku when he learned the summoning seal that third generation gave him. Boom! The female avatar used the summoning technique, and a giant python appeared under her feet, hissing snake letter. Ha ha ha, very good, Orochimaru, you can go away. The female avatar waved to Orochimaru. Orochimaru looked at the female avatar with gloomy eyes, and was protected by the 4 groups of Odonin who had lifted the 4 purple flame formations and quickly fled. Your Excellency, Orochimaru took note of today's affairs. Orochimaru put down a ruthless word, and it disappeared quickly. The Hokage guards and Anbu ninja soldiers are divided into 2 groups. The Hokage guard pursued Orochimaru, but was easily blocked by the Spider-Man of Odonin's group of 4 who spit out a spider web. Anbu ninja enters the roof, trying to kill the red-haired masked female avatar. But after the female avatar waved to them, she smiled and disappeared with Naruto's body with the Flying Thunder God technique. Soon, under the leadership of Jiraiya, One-Tail Shuhei was suppressed back into Gaara's body. After Gaara was dropped 5 elements seal, he could no longer smoothly urge chakra, so he could only be imprisoned in a rage. Without Naruto's mouth, Gaara is still the original character, always wanting to kill and get mentally ill. The Konaha collapse plan this time, although Konaha village drove out the invaders, it was really a heavy loss. A small half of Konaha village was destroyed by One-Tail Shuhei. A large number of ninjas died at the hands of Shuhei and the invaders, not to mention the tragic deaths of ordinary villagers. Even Tenten, Choji, Ino, and Inazukaya among the 12 small strong players were affected by the explosion in the stands of the exam venue. Although they were not dead, they were also seriously injured. Only Hinata has been under the protection of Naruto's shadow clone, staying in a remote training ground, and even Mao has not been injured. Sakura, Shikamaru, and Xiao Li, who were arranged by Kakashi to chase Sasuke, and Aburame Shino who followed him secretly, and Neji, who was injured and entered the hospital early, also survived. The most important thing is that third Hokage is dead, the entire Konoha village has no heads, and the storm is precarious. The one who has benefited the most is Naruto, but no one knows it. The Anbu ninja who monitored him found Naruto chasing Sasuke and staying with Sasuke. As everyone knows, it was just Naruto's shadow clone. No one would doubt Naruto or something. Now, he is staying at home, looking at the points in the system excitedly, and his strength will definitely skyrocket next. But what should I exchange? Naruto sat cross-legged on the bed and rummaged through the system mall, then looked at his personal panel, thought for a while, and finally made a choice. In the system mall, all the wind style ninjutsu that I have not mastered will be exchanged, plus all the wind style ninjutsu that I have now mastered, and then they will all be upgraded to the superiority level. Ding dong. The exchange is complete. The host has completed the master wind style form and nature transformation. Will it be exchanged for blood synthesis scroll and upgraded to wind god body? Haha, my guess is correct. Naruto looked at the system prompt and thought excitedly. Based on the existing skill upgrade scroll, bloodline upgrade scroll, and superior power synthesis scroll, he began to guess that based on the system's vast magic powers, he couldn't create a bloodline. Sure enough, his guess was correct. System, exchange and use blood synthesis scroll. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for acquiring the Bloodline function body. Body of the Wind God. You can manipulate the power of the wind, and you can perform wind style and nature transformation at will. There is no need to seal, and the power is related to the consumption of chakra. Naruto excitedly looked at the abilities brought by Pervert's function body, then looked at the remaining system points, and continued to command in his mind. System, exchange 3 Bloodline upgrade scrolls for use on function body. Ding dong. The body of the Wind God has been upgraded to level 4 God Bloodline. Naruto was itching to test the ability of body of Wind God at this time, so a thought disappeared in place and came to the Sea of Nami country. Only one shadow clone stayed at home, deceiving the Anbu ninja who was still monitoring him. Above the white misty sea, Naruto stretched his hands forward with 10 fingers, 10 fiercely rotating whirlwinds with the thickness of fingers shooting far away like bullets. He put his right hand together into a knife shape, swiped forward, and a huge wind blade over 100 meters long appeared immediately, turning into a blue-white giant knife, splitting the white mist in front of him, and then tore a deep on the surface of the sea. The trench is coming. He waved his right hand forward, as if driving away mosquitoes and flies, and then a huge hurricane appeared, rolling up the seawater and forming a larger and larger waterspout into the sky. As soon as his legs jumped, a strong wind surrounded his body, causing him to rush to the sky and rise in the wind. The wind is blowing and the clouds are flying. Naruto was so upset that he couldn't help shouting out these words. Seeing his body turned again, the whirlwind around his body quickly expanded to the surroundings, dispelling the white mist and clearing it. Soon, there was no trace of white fog in the radius of nearly 1,000 meters. A storm that ruined the sky and the earth gradually formed, and the sky and the earth began to change color. In the faraway islands, the old drunk man Dasna took his grandson Inari and hurriedly ran home, shouting as he ran. How come this year's storm season has arrived ahead of schedule? Run and run, this storm is so huge, it won't blow off the newly built bridge. After the storm was lifted, Naruto was so supported by the whirlwind, lying on the white clouds, his face full of triumph. This body of the Wind God is so powerful that it makes him feel like a wind god. Not only has the fighting power great, but also has the ability to fly. Throughout the entire ninja world, apart from 3rd Tsuchikage Onoki, Konan, Deidara, Sai, and the future Gaara, he is probably the only ninja who can fly in the air. If you have the opportunity, you must take Hinata with the wind to travel the world. Naruto thought happily, then took out a storage scroll, opened it, and Orochimaru's Kusunaru sword appeared in front of her eyes. With a touch of his hand, he erased the seal technique and chakra left by Orochimaru on the sword god, and set up a special seal technique, which contained his own large batch of chakra and a flying thunder god mark. Then, he casually threw the Kusunaru sword from a high altitude, and when the Kusunaru sword fell into the sea, he made a move with his right hand, and a flying thunder god mark flashed across the palm of his hand. At the same time, the special sealing technique on the Kusunaru sword was activated, and chakra injected the flying thunder god mark. In less than a second, Kusunaru sword automatically returned to Naruto's right hand. Naruto laughed and pointed his right hand, and Kusunaru sword floated in front of him obediently and stabled forward. The characteristics of this Kusuna sword are similar to the flying swords in previous Fairy Shaw novels, but it is not as flexible and powerful as the flying swords imagined. So, system, exchange 3 ninja upgrade scrolls and use them on Kusunaru sword. Ninja upgrade scroll was found by accident in the system store. Similar to skill upgrade scroll and bloodline upgrade scroll, you can upgrade the ninja. The highest is also level 4. The system shows that this Kusunaru sword is currently only level 1. Ding dong. Ninja Kusana sword has been upgraded to level 4 artifact Kusana sword. Drink. Naruto gave a clear drink, brought the index finger and middle finger of his right hand together, and pointed forward. Artifact Kusunaru sword pierced forward like a bullet, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. With a move with his right hand, Kusunaru sword returned to the palm of his hand again. Then he threw the Kusana sword into the air, and the two command dances, and the Kusana sword also danced. The sword light flickered, and the cold wind was bitter. At this time, the Kusanagi sword was majestic and majestic. There is no doubt that it can take the head of an enemy from 100 meters away. Of course, it's only 100 meters at most, and it won't work any farther. After all, this is the Hokage world, not the Shenshia world. The Kusunaru sword, which has become a divine weapon, not only doubles the sword's ability, but also increases its hardness and sharpness several times. It can make the ape demon with the body of the King Kong feel pain, and now it is estimated that the ape demon's body can be directly cut off. At this point, the large number of system points he has received have all been exhausted. Early the next morning, Naruto was reluctantly awakened by the alarm clock and woke up with 2 dark circles under his eyes and dressed. He was playing too late yesterday, and finally, while driving the Kusunaru sword, while flying back to Konaha village from the country of waves, instead of using the flying thunder god technique. Today is the funeral of 3rd Hokage, but the excitement of yesterday has not completely subsided from my heart. After a long time, he walked out the door, looked up at the sky, and found that the sky was gloomy, with dark clouds, and drizzle gradually dripping. As even the heaven weeping over the death of Lord 3rd Hokage. In the distance, little Sakura walked slowly over and said in a low mood. How could it be? It's too late for God to be happy. Naruto sneered and shook his head. Then, his body flashed outside the village, and Shadow Clone continued to follow the little Sakura to the funeral. When Naruto came to the outside of the village, he flew directly into the sky, above the dark clouds, pushing his hands forward, and most of the chakra inside his body urged him to come out. Immediately, a tornado appeared over Konaha village and quickly pushed the surrounding dark clouds outward. Soon, the dark clouds dissipated, the sky was clear and the sun was shining. Naruto thought for a while, the corners of his mouth raised, and continued to urge the force of the wind to piece together a few scattered white clouds. Countless ninjas and villagers in Konaha village stood at the funeral of 3rd Hokage. They looked up in amazement at the sky that was rapidly changing their faces, feeling the glare of the sun. In the next second, they actually saw a smiling face made up of white clouds gradually forming. Everyone couldn't help but grow their mouths. Look, I was right. At the funeral, Naruto Shadow Clone triumphantly said to the little Sakura next to him. On the Konaha fence, 2 tall men wearing black cloaks with red clouds and hats stand side by side, looking down at the entire Konaha village. Behind one of them was a huge knife-like object wrapped in gauze. Although it was saved from destruction, the damage to this village is very serious. It's really pitiful that the originally very prosperous village has reached this point. Hehe, this doesn't look like your style. Is it because you still have nostalgia for your hometown? No, not at all. As soon as the 2 powerful ninjas, Itachi and Kisame, entered the village, Naruto had already sensed them. Because before Itachi annihilated and defected, 3rd Hokage had promised him that he would not change the way of entering and exiting the Konaha village enchantment to ensure that Itachi could come back to visit Sasuke at any time. At that time, Itachi accepted it happily, and I'm afraid I was still grateful to 3rd Hokage. As far as Naruto knows, this time Itachi came to Konaha village for 2 purposes. On the face of it, he was captured as Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and on the other hand, it was for Sasuke, to visit Sasuke, and to stimulate Sasuke. There may also be the purpose of deterring Konaha village. Although the original, Annihilation partner, 3rd Hokage is dead, Danzo and the newly appointed Hokage should be honest, and don't try to Sasuke. But Naruto is not going to have any intentions with these 2 guys. Now he still needs wretched development. Even if he wants Mangekyo from Itachi and Samahata from Kisame, this is not the best time. After all, with his current strength, even if he could kill the 2, he would still need to pay a great price. All things considered, it's not worth it. Let them go. Anyway, they will meet again soon. Now I still have to continue to bury my head and increase my strength. But what Naruto didn't know was that Itachi had a 3rd purpose when he came here, which was also a task assigned to him by Akatsuki's organization. Naruto was running with a load at this time, and by the way, he drew a mark on a tree trunk passing by. He has run 1,300 laps around the training ground, and today's goal is 2,000 laps. There are also 50 shadow clones in the center of the training ground, which are training various physical movements and powering skills. Next to him, Neji couldn't help but glance at the 50 shadow clone, with envy, jealousy and hatred in his eyes. After all, it's really easy to get depressed if you train with a guy. And Might Guy took Shaoli around the entire Konoha village in a handstand walk. Soon, Might Guy met the confronting two sides by the river. On one side are Kakashi, Asuma, and Yurihong, and on the other side are Itachi and Kisame who have just entered the village. Might Guy quickly asked Shaoli to inform Anbu, and he went to support Tsukuyomi's Kakashi first. Itachi didn't want to have too much conflict with Kakashi and the others, otherwise he would kill Kakashi directly with Tsukuyomi. And he seemed to know the true ability of Might Guy, so he didn't want to be delayed by Might Guy, so he decisively left with Kisame and waited for the opportunity to find Naruto again. The news that Itachi and Kisame came to Konoha village soon became known to the Konoha executives and some elites, such as Jiraiya, who already knew about Xiao Xiao's organization plan. At this time, the two advisors and elders of Konoha are inviting Jiraiya to be the fifth Hokage, but apparently Jiraiya only has his own great dream in his heart and has no interest in the position of Hokage. However, he also agreed to find Tsunade and let Tsunade be the fifth Hokage. For the purpose of protecting Nine Tails Jinchuriki and teaching Naruto, Jiraiya decided to take Naruto with him and find Tsunade together. When Jiraiya found Naruto in the training ground and asked Naruto to accompany him on the festival tour, the long-lost system mission was once again released to Naruto. Ding dong. Mission released. Find Tsunade and improve her panspermia. 1. The Virgin's Choice. Move her with love and dreams. Reward. Tsunade's kiss. Quote. 2nd. The Devil's Choice. Stab her with a sword and stimulate her with her own blood. Reward. Sage Body of the Senju Clan. Quote. Sage Body of the Senju Clan has a huge amount of chakra, super chakra control, ninjutsu talent, earth perception and other skills. When Naruto saw Sage Body of the Senju family, his eyes lit up. He had been waiting for this Sage Body for a long time. Originally, he wanted to exchange it in the System Mall, but it was too expensive and he was really unwilling. System, I choose the second one, the devil chooses. Isn't such a good Sage Body more fragrant than the kiss of an old woman like Tsunade? Naruto prefers kisses from kawaii girls like Hinata. The first stop Jiraiya took Naruto out of the village was in the town next to Konoha village. The so-called Suchengcho is a post station located on an important traffic road or next to an important place, mostly in the size of a town. Naruto was strapped with sandbags and steel plates, and he was carrying a heavy backpack on his back. This is the homework assigned to him by Might Guy. Whenever he can't hold on, the kick that King Guy almost kicked out of the finale flashes in his mind. Thinking about the scene after Mangekyo Sharingan's time reverse ability was combined with 8 inner gates, a fire flashed in my heart, no slackness. Seeing this scene, Jiraiya nodded with satisfaction. With talent and enough hard work, Naruto is not a talent, who can become a talent. An hour later, Naruto and Jiraiya came to Suchengcho, as the only place to pass through Konoha. Suchengcho is unusually prosperous, and various street vendors gather in juggling and people come and go. Naruto looked around curiously, stopping from time to time to take a look at some weird things. Finally, Naruto bought a funny and exaggerated black toad mirror and put it on his eyes. A toad mirror is similar to a large sunshade mirror. When Naruto had just opened a room with Jiraiya, a fashionable girl came over, cast a wink at Jiraiya, and easily transferred Jiraiya, pervy sage, away. Naruto perceives Itachi and Kisame hiding nearby, the corners of his mouth raised, and he turned upstairs and came to the room. At the same time, after learning of Itachi's arrival and the news that Naruto was about to be captured, Sasuke was frantically looking for Naruto and got closer and closer. Clang clang. When the door was knocked, Naruto didn't seem to hear, and continued to lie on the ground doing push-ups. Clang clang. The door was knocked again, and Naruto said impatiently, I'm underage, don't need special services. Boom. Kisame kicked the door open directly. Naruto stood up and looked at Itachi and Kisame who were standing at the door with a bored look. He looked at them coldly and said, I don't need special service. I don't need a guy with a ghost face to serve me. Kisame stared at a pair of shark eyes with a weird face, looked at Naruto with a funny toad mirror on his face for a while, then slowly said, Boy, you are very trendy. What is the tide? I'm so pure. Naruto said with a raised mouth. You. Kisame continued to say something, but was interrupted by the Itachi next to him. Kisame, stop talking, he's kidding us. Yeah, I didn't expect you to be an old driver. Naruto teased while watching Itachi. What? Kisame also reacted at this moment, raising his hand, Samahata, and cutting it towards Naruto. Boy, you're looking for death. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.